Okay, good evening and welcome. It's MJ Live. We're back again with another amazing show for you. Oh my goodness, we have Frank Goodin, the Emmy Award-winning producer, who's going to join us a little bit in just a couple of minutes. But before we do all that, we're just going to get our preliminaries out of the way. I want to welcome you to the show so far. Welcome, Sophia Sharif, beautiful lady. Welcome, Wealth Engineering. I know you got another stream somewhere else. Welcome to Chef Chopino, another cast member. So we're going to have a really good show tonight. But before we do, we're going to start off with some music while we get to sharing. We're going to start off with some music while we get to sharing the stream. All right. Let's do it, guys. Let's do it. OG Patrice is in the building as well. Welcome. It's going to be another good one, guys. It's going to be another good one. I've been away for a little bit, but girl is back. Chef Chopino, welcome, everybody. Raw Will. All right, can you hear the music? Can you hear the music, guys? Let me know if you can hear the music. Get to sharing. Let's share. Tell everybody it's starting. It's about to get started. Let me know if you can hear the music. Is it too loud? Is it too quiet? Let's get to sharing. Let's share the post. Yes, you can hear the music. That's perfect. Share to your friends. Share on your other social media. Let's share. Hey. Welcome, guys. Welcome. We're just sharing for the first couple of minutes. We got a good show tonight. Yeah. Starting now. Gotta share on my WhatsApp. Over 100, over 600 people. Starting now. You know, people always need a little reminder, right? People always need a little reminder. It's always good to just to help them on their way. Tell them that we're starting now. And while we're doing that, we enjoy the music a little bit more. That's what we do. How you guys doing? We're just about to get started. Frank Goodin! Emmy-winning film maker. I love that. Raw Will. Sophia. I know there's some big competition tonight. We got competition, but that's alright. I'm glad you like it, Frank. Luscious. Sincere Brown, welcome. Sincere's mom. From one Millissa to another Millissa. All right, we're gonna get into it. We're gonna get into it. Flex up, lashes. We're gonna get into it. Make sure you share to your Facebook groups. Share to your Instagram. Share to your WhatsApp groups. Welcome guys, welcome. Come on in, get settled down. Get your tea, get your snacks, get your coffee, get your wine, whatever it is you're drinking. Okay. Alrighty. We're gonna get into it. Welcome everyone to MJ Live. It's another week, and we have another great show just for you. My name is Millissa Jayne. Some people call me Millissa Jayne. Some people call me MJ, like Michael Jackson. Woo-hoo. Except it's just me, Millissa Jayne. I'm so excited to be back. You know what? Sometimes you're not always feeling your best. I've been under the weather a little bit of late, and but now I think I'm back to my normal health. I think I'm back for the most part. I'm going to say 99% back to full health. So how are you guys doing? How are you feeling? How are you feeling, everyone? I'm going to give a big shout out to Chef Chopino. Let me know if I'm pronouncing that wrong or right. Chef Chopino. Wealth Engineering's got a show right now with Suzette. Welcome to Sophia Sharif. Beautiful Sophia. OG Patrice is in the house. Good to have you, my sister. And welcome to Raw Will. Welcome to, I think I saw Mr. Frank Goodin is here as well. Welcome to Lascious Journey. And Sincere Brown, that's Millissa, I believe. Sincere's mum, Millissa, from one Millissa to another. Lascious is here, and we're going to get into it. We're going to get into it with the Emmy Award-Winning filmmaker, Frank Goodin, in just a few moments. So I want to give a big shout out to my sponsors. Big shout out to Lascious Journey, my biggest sponsor. Big shout out to Shayla, Mysterious Shayla. Big shout out to the moderator of all moderators, Gail Lockett. Big shout out to Carl Sinclair from Sid Tech Cooling. And shout out to the Intentional Millionaire. These are all my sponsors, guys. Big shout out to MSE Network. That's megasourceentertainment.com. Big shout out to the award-winning international recording artist, Novelty. See, I only associate with the award-winning. No, I'm just joking. Big shout out to Sophia Sharif. Big shout out to another sponsor, Bernard S. And also to past winners of contest winners, What Can I Change? And also Marlene TV. And I have a couple of more contest winners. I'll have to add you to the list as well. So welcome everybody to the show. And feel free to put in the hashtag MJ Nation. Hashtag MJ Nation if you rock with me, which I know you do. If you're here, that means you're rocking with me. Just drop in hashtag MJ Nation. Welcome Oral Ferguson, good friend. Thank you so much for rocking with me each and every week. You are a very loyal supporter, and I really appreciate you, and a good friend too. Yes. Welcome everybody. We're about to get into it. Welcome to Vaughn Bryant. Just joined us. Another big shout out to another cast member here. And welcome. Just drop in MJ Nation, guys. Just drop in MJ Nation if you're rocking with me, which I know you do. And Needs Watches is also in the building. Needs Watches is in the building as well. So welcome everybody. We're just about to get started. Frank Goodin, our guest, can just jump in any time and I will bring you up in a second. But I do want to give you one tech tip for the day. I have been away for a couple of weeks. It feels like a long time, but I have been away for a little bit. So in the meantime, I discovered that there has been a new update to StreamYard. There's a new update to StreamYard, and some of you guys probably even know it ahead of me since I've been away. But in the brand section, they now have the background music available. In the brand section, all the way to the bottom, you now have background music. So I'm going to go and test it out for you and let you hear what the background music sounds like. Let me know if you can hear the music playing in the background. I can adjust the volume. Let me know if you can hear it. Drop me a number 1 if you can hear the background music. This link is for Frank only. This link is for Frank only. All right, so you can hear the background music. That is the new edition. I'll play another one for you. This one is called Dance Pop. You can't rewind it or fast forward it. You can't add your own. So that's another one, Dance Pop. You can adjust the volume. It's only supposed to be background music, so I'm only going to be playing it very quietly. This is about 50, 55%, 52%. So you can certainly have that music playing. I'll put it down very quiet. While you're doing your show, you can have background music playing, and they have about, let's say, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 options. I would love the opportunity to be able to add our own, but they don't have that yet. And then the music plays on a loop, so it just continues to play throughout the show. So that is the tech tip for today. It's a new addition to StreamYard. You've probably already seen it, and that's what's available. You can stop in and you can start it. Welcome Cynthia Garner. How you doing? Welcome again Raw Will. Welcome Sophia Sharif. OG Patrice Needs Watches, and everybody else that is in here. Go ahead and block this one. All right, so how are you all feeling tonight? Just drop me a number 2 if you're feeling good and you're ready to get started. All right, because I'm ready to get started. Give me a big thumbs up if you're ready to get started, Frank. Are you ready to get started? Of course, you're always ready. That's always ready. All right, let's go. Welcome, Frank Goodin. How are you, sir?
I'm doing well. What's going on, Millissa? Jayne, I'm up in Millissa Jayne's place today.
Oh, wow. Yeah, man. I'm good. How are you feeling?
And it's looking good, too. See, I've been grinding so much. I haven't been on your channel. I don't know how many times you've been on here recently, but this is my first time checking out how you just putting everything together. And let me just salute you and give you props. It's looking nice. I like the way all the way across. You don't go in the red theme, and you got your background situated right here, and everything is looking good, Millissa Jayne. You
Thank you. Thank you very much. I appreciate you for saying so. I really appreciate you. Let's just welcome a couple of more people that are in here. Welcome to She Stole My Thunder, has just joined us. Welcome to everybody else that's coming in. Cynthia Garner, and welcome to Sincere Brown. Now this is Millissa. I believe it's Sincere Brown's mother. And are you a cast member? I'm getting a feeling that this is a cast member as well.
Sincere Brown is the cast member. Is that who you're asking about? And then but he's underage. So it's
got it now. I get. Yes, that's right. I remember seeing the Instagram page now. Okay, beautiful. So everybody knows today's show, it's all about the Emmy Award-winning Frank Goodin. How come you don't have that all in your name, Frank? How come you haven't got that all written in your
You know
in your
what?
name?
I guess I need to add that one in. That would be because it's funny, when you sign in, I just leave it Frank Goodin. But when
Oh,
I'm on
okay.
my channel, I throw it in. But I guess I need to put that in there too, right?
Yeah, it's all about you today. So even though you have it in your name on this in the comments, we can still have you have it in the in the main area too. Why
Yeah.
not, right? Why not?
Right. Why not?
So I just want to say I'm really thankful for you to be available to do the show. I mean, just to give people a little bit of background, I've been away for a couple of weeks, or it seems like a couple of weeks. I think I might have done a show last week. I've been under the weather a little bit of a cold, and I'm still just getting over it. So if I do cough or if I do put myself on mute, that's why. But I'm happy to be back, and I didn't want to miss this opportunity to be with you because you have something big happening this weekend. So we'll talk about that in a second. Welcome first, Jayne, as well. Before we really get into it, could you just give us a little bit of an introduction to who you are, a little bit of your background? We're going to start by just exploring a little bit of who you are, and then a little bit later, we're going to come in and we'll talk really in depth about this massive project that you have underway.
Gotcha. Thank you. And you know what? And just to kind of let you know, I'm glad you're better now, and I hope that you quickly return to full strength. And tonight we just can, we can take it. If you feel like we pushed through for a while, that's cool. But if we want to keep it short, whatever, following your lead, I'm just blessed to be here with you and to have this opportunity to talk about it a little bit. So
Yeah.
we're just gonna follow your lead. Don't push it if you know you gotta get your rest.
All right, I appreciate that. I think we'll probably, because whenever I've seen, whenever you start talking about your project and stuff like that, we can just go on, and I feel like we're just going to be just vibe just like that. We'll just go as long as it takes. All right, as long as you have the time, I got the time.
Yeah, I'm good.
All
Thank
right.
you.
All
So
right.
a little bit about me. I'm a father. I have two daughters who happen to be with me right now. So if I have to mute, if I have to turn off my mic, my camera, for a hot second, then that's the only reason why.
No, it's cool.
12 and 9 years old, and I'm a proud dad. They're definitely doing their thing. My
Actually,
background.
whenever you talk about your daughters, you always light up. So I love to hear you actually talk about your daughters. You said 9 and 12. You said.
Yeah, 9 and 12.
Just spend a minute. Just tell me, spend a little bit on your daughters. What do each of them love? What kind of characters do they have?
Okay, well, my oldest daughter has her name is Ayana. Oldest daughter is Ayana. Huge heart the size of Texas. Will give you anything.
Oh.
And it's funny because I've had to, kind of teach her, instruct her in that because she'll just give any and everything away.
Wow.
And, growing up, now she's in 6th grade, so friends, you give it, they'll go ahead and take it.
Wow.
Right, people. So, but she's tall like me. I'm 6'2". She is 12 years old and she's 5'7".
Oh.
Yeah, she got some height on her, growing like a weed. Super intelligent. Right now she's in cheerleading, and she goes to an art school, ironically.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
Nice.
so it's just cool to see the little personalities develop. And my 9-year-old is a ham. She would jump on here with me if I let her, be right here. Like, it's so funny because I am naturally an introvert. That's another reason why I'm glad that you have me here, because this is giving me a little bit of practice before Saturday night. So people like you feel comfortable with just being up and being, I can tell you seem like a natural extrovert, comfortable in front of people. Me, I just have to push it a little bit. My youngest daughter is like you. She's just an extrovert, loves to tell jokes. She loves to sing. She's taking piano right now, and also super smart. So just both both my little daughters are little sweeties, little sweethearts.
Hmm. Oh, you mentioned the first one, Ayana. What's the other one's name then?
Oh, Elena, youngest daughter is
Elena.
mm-hmm.
Oh,
Ayana.
nice.
Elena.
Elena and Ayana. Beautiful.
Thank
All
you.
right. So, yeah, you so continue talking about a little bit more about your background as I interrupted.
Yeah. So my background is like currently right now I'm teaching. I teach at the University of North Florida. I teach all of our video production classes in the School of Communication. I lead the digital video production concentration.
Mm.
And so right now I'm teaching 5 classes: single cam, multicam, advanced production, digital video editing, and narrative production. And my whole, that's my background. I have a Master of Fine Arts degree in filmmaking from Florida State.
Mm.
And, I've as an independent filmmaker, my first film was Love Trap. Right now you can see it on YouTube movies. If you haven't yet, it's a really, really insightful movie. It's a love story, but it talks about love, the concept and notion of love in a very pretty unique way, inspirational way. Not like a typical boy meets girl, boy loses girl, boy gets girl back type love stories. Talks about it in a really different way, and I'm really, really proud to, in terms of that film, really proud to know that Love Trap was written 17 years ago, and people are still watching it on YouTube, and it's having this very, very direct impact on people. And really, that speaks to like why I'm a filmmaker.
Hmm.
Um, I've always aspired to tell stories that impact people, that touch people, that people resonate with,
Hmm.
that people can use to grow and learn somehow from. And for me, that's the best kind of filmmaking, stories that really resonate with people. And, so Love Trap did that, and Life or Death does that. So I'm so crazy excited about that. So in terms of kind of my background, that's I don't know, that's a good start.
That's a good start. That's a good start. And throughout, you know how we do in these YouTube streets.
Mhm.
We're always going to be welcoming people and getting them to be a part of the show as well. So it's going
Mhm.
to be no different here. Welcome to Getty. Getty just joined us as well. Welcome, Getty
Maybe.
Radio Show. And Cynthia Garner, Born Bryant. That's my sister, OP. Oh, that's Cynthia is OG's sister. Nice, nice. Are you a performer as well, Cynthia? um, let's see. Um,
Shout out to everybody in the chat. I didn't get a chance to say so myself, but I'm seeing like
yeah.
whole team Life or Death is up in here. That's
Love Trap was a great project. Check it out on YouTube. That's definitely. Um, yes. So, guys, if you have questions for Frank as we're going through, feel free to just drop them in the chat. Put a Q at the beginning of them or a question, just so that I can star them and bring them up afterwards, and I won't miss you out. Let's see what she says. I can be whatever you need me to be. Says Cynthia. Oh, that's good. That's good. It's going to be a family affair here. Okay.
Mhm.
So we're going to touch on a couple of things that you spoke about in a little bit more detail.
Mhm.
So let's talk a little bit more about that film, Love Trap. So you said it was written and it was made 17 years ago. Is that right? Or
Yeah,
how
let me
long
get
ago?
the
When was it
years right. So
written?
we're in 2022 now. I wrote
Hmm.
it in 2004. So whatever that is, that's longer than 17 years, isn't it? That's 18 years.
Hmm.
So so yeah, no, 16 years, something like that. But yeah, a long time ago. Just put it like that.
Right, right. So when you that was your first film? Was that your
Yeah,
first film?
first independent feature. Yep.
All right. And what inspired that first film?
Good question. A couple things. Number one, I wanted to what we find as in terms of African Americans in this country and probably all over the Black diaspora, across all countries, is there seems to be, at least definitely in this country, there's a not there's a shortage of Black films, as we know. And in particular, there's a shortage of Black love stories. And so for me, I was very intentional. I wanted to create a Black love story. I did a little exercise on my channel when we were watching Love Trap, where I invited people to kind of see if they could name in the entire chat, name some Black love stories. How many Black love movies can you name? And, the entire chat, if I had maybe 15, 20 people in there together, we struggled to come up with, the names of 10 like pure Black love stories
Mm.
and in the entire history of filmmaking. And so I'm glad you asked that question because that's what inspired it, the desire to create a love story, a Black love story that in doing so helps to present and portray us in a way that's different than the stereotypical way that African Americans are portrayed in cinema. And so what better that up than a love story?
And this is the film that you received the Emmy Award for.
No, we did end up winning several Black film festivals, and so a lot of other good things happened with Love Trap. But that's not the one that won the Emmy. My first documentary won the Emmy in 2011.
Okay. So before we get onto that documentary, can we just talk a little bit more about Love Trap as far as once you made it and how well was it received, and what sort of recognition did it receive?
It was a beautiful experience. So that when you're, especially with your first film ever, and you're putting your little baby out that you worked so hard out there for those time, that's one of the things you're like super, as you might expect, super nervous about how people respond to your work.
Right.
And it was absolutely received in an outstanding way. The first film festival that we entered into, the way that, the normal routine that you take when you, as an independent filmmaker, if you want your work to get noticed and achieve notoriety, is you got to go straight to the film festivals. That's the proving grounds.
Right.
So the film festival, first one that we submitted to was a film festival in Atlanta, Georgia, and we won it. And it's so funny when I think back. I was always mission focused, and I remember the little speech. I got carried away. Anybody who was there would tell you I was, because there was so much things people were talking about, independent filmmaking out there, and I was so mission focused, and I was explaining to people. Let's see, I don't know if you know who Orlando Jones is, comedian.
Oh yeah.
He was a host there, and he mentioned a couple things, and I came in right after Orlando Jones. It was like, no, we don't need all this and this, we can do this independent, and and it was funny, but that was the first of several, like just a festival run, where basically, almost all the festivals that we entered Love Trap into, it won Best Feature Film, and that took a whole year on the festival circuit. So we were going all over the States, and it also screened during that time in the UK, all up and down the UK.
Oh, really?
Interesting. It was actually pretty cool. And then that it ended with, and that's kind of a long story, but it ended by being picked up by First Look Studios, and that's where it got the opportunity to screen on Showtime for a year and a half. It was on BET after that, and it was in all the stores, the DVDs and everything. So it was an absolutely an amazing experience, and it really validated. That's the thing that you're looking for as a filmmaker, is that validation.
Yeah.
There's space for my voice, for what I do. Do people? Am I good enough? You get up there, and is my work good enough? And after that, I definitely was received that validation that I was looking for.
That's beautiful. So it actually went all over the world. Oh, you said it went to the UK.
Yes.
Did it go to any other countries outside of the US?
Yeah, eventually it did. It was all over the world, like you said.
Oh wow, nice.
So now, so hold on, I'm gonna pause real quick because
Okay,
I got my daughter.
no problem. I'll just greet the audience.
Yeah, pause it just for a second.
Not a problem.
Okay.
All right, welcome everybody. We're talking with the Emmy Award-winning um, producer, filmmaker, and we are excited to have him with us. So we're just going to give a big shout out to you guys again. And we do have some questions. We're going to come to the questions. Just to put a cue before the question, if you have any questions, and we will get to all of the questions because we want you to be a part of what we're doing here. And I've got my notes, so I'll be asking questions as well as we go through. We're gonna dig deep. We're gonna dive deep into the life of Frank Goodin. And I know he's ready for it. When he gives us that big smile, you can know that he's all ready for it. So again, everybody, welcome to the show. This is MJ Live. We're here every Thursday, 8 p.m. and Tuesday, 8 p.m. I got to get my Tuesdays back going again. For the month of January, we had a jam-packed schedule. For the last couple of sessions, we've had to postpone one or two, but we are back. We are back. We are back. We are back. Welcome, Vaughn. How you doing, my friend? How is everybody doing? Another cast member. And for those who don't know, I haven't mentioned this yet, that I am actually a member of this new film that Frank is coming out with. And he's going to talk about that right in a little bit. After we dig a little bit deeper into some of his previous works, we're going to get to the most current thing that he's working on, which is so unique. And if you don't already know, you're going to hear about it. Here we go. Let's get back Frank Goodin as part of our show here today.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, so Frank, when you made that first film and you got such validation, it went all over the world, it spurred you on to do more. So what came after that film?
This is where it's going to be an interesting part of the story, because the very next project that I wrote after all of this was Life or Death. I wrote
Oh,
Life or Death in 2000, and I want to say either 7 and 8 or 7 and 8.
okay.
And that was, and I won't bore us with the long story, but what I will say is that Life or Death was set to become a feature film on 4 separate occasions. 4 separate times we found an investment group, and we did all the work that we needed to do to take us to the point where, in terms of having a cast in mind and having things ready to go out and actually cast, and even getting a few of the supporting roles locked down. And every time, every single time, we got to the point where the investment group had to put the money in escrow so we can actually begin pre-production officially. And every time it fell through.
Something fell through. There was a
Yeah,
reason. Was it like a different reason each time, or?
yeah, and it was a different reason.
Oh wow!
Like, how the heck? So that was it. So while that was going on, of course, I was working on other things, teaching and doing some things, but that's what spurred me later to create basically turn it from the screenplay to a graphic novel. It was part of a plan where I was actually going to pitch it to, I was actually thinking about going ahead and moving on out to LA, pitching it to studios, and then having the graphic novel as a visual aid, a visual accompaniment to the actual screenplay, so that they can see it and hopefully get somebody to pick it up. But then some interesting thing happens after that. So my next actual project ended up becoming the documentary.
Okay, so let's talk about the documentary then. What was the documentary about, and obviously led to you receiving the Emmy Award, right? Talk about that a little bit.
So the documentary was actually the brainchild of a now local personality, radio personality here. Her name is Millissa Ross, and she is the producer for a local radio show here called First Coast Connect. And it was her idea to create a documentary that uh, that followed the struggles of our city council
Mm.
deal with the persistent crime rate over on the north side of Jacksonville. People don't know it, and you're in Florida here with me. People don't know it, but Jacksonville leads the state, and it definitely during that time from 2000 to 2010 led the state per capita in the murder rate for 10 years straight.
Oh.
And it was, it's a real interesting at the time. People, I think, know a lot about the issue now because it's been studied, but we were one of the first to really dive into, okay, well, what's going on with these persistent crime rates, and
Mhm.
why is it happening, and why would, kind of a city that you wouldn't think would have these kinds of problems, why is it happening here? And
Mhm.
that's she wanted to do that. She brought on first the director of photography. His name is Bernardo Santana, very talented director of photographer who actually worked with me on Love Trap.
Mhm.
And as soon as she brought him in, he was like, "We got to bring Frank in." So she brought me in. We had a meeting, and
Mm.
then things began to kind of grow and mature from there. I decided to go ahead and come in and direct and co-produce, as well as edit, and the three of us together created the 904.
Wow. So where was that shown?
So when we completed it, we are as same thing with Love Trap. We the initial screening was in Jacksonville, just a
Mhm.
general screening, and then we sent it to several film festivals. It actually won the audience award at the Nashville Film Festival. This was early on, and because this was Melissa's the executive producer, and so it's her show. I directed it, but it's
Right.
her entity.
Mhm.
She did with this documentary. She decided not. She wanted to try to make as much of a beeline towards it being picked up for distribution as opposed to going the full festival circuit. And so that's what she did. We entered into a few, and I forget which one. We won a Don Davis Award here in Jacksonville. We won the Audience Award in Nashville, and I think we picked up a couple other ones. But it got picked up for distribution pretty soon,
Mm.
and it had some very innovative distribution ideas. Also, some things that were happening for the first time there. But then, not long after that, is when we submitted to the Suncoast Emmys, which is a regional Emmy. Like the way the Emmys work is they all have their reasons and regions, and then they have the
Mhm.
nationals for the daytime shows.
Mm.
We submitted for the Suncoast Emmy in late 2010. Yeah, I think it was late 2010, and it ended up winning Best Topical Documentary, and that's how we won the Emmy.
Ah, nice, nice, nice. So does does a documentary sort of have the same type of um let's say journey as a like a film like the Love Trap film? Does it have the same sort of journey as far as distribution and all that kind of thing?
No, that's a great question, Melissa,
Mm.
because they don't. Because the market for documentaries is not nearly as strong as for
Right, right, right.
fictional narrative feature films. It's not nearly as strong.
Hmm.
People, as people generally, the general public just ain't checking for documentaries like they are for regular films. Um, so it's harder, to
Mm.
get picked up.
Well, that's what I thought. Yeah. I mean,
Definitely hard.
so the fact that you actually won the Emmy for the documentary, that actually speaks a lot of the work that you did to produce that, I would
Yeah,
say.
yeah, I agree. For me, it was, and thanks for pointing it out because, I went to film school, and in film school, we learned every aspect of narrative storytelling,
Hmm.
from top to bottom, everything. So, um, what I was able to do, which was really interesting, was um, adapt storytelling techniques
Hmm.
to basically the stuff of life. Life became my canvas. And so we're out shooting, and
Hmm.
instead of having, actors, have to learn lines, and it's fiction, so it's all coming from you, and they, instead of it being a production, instead
Hmm.
you're covering actual stories, and we have to be really creative and expansive in our coverage, with kind of all with the understanding of where we want to go. Um, and so and that's a very different thing, but you're working with life. So just to give you an example, the documentary is an hour long.
Hmm.
We probably have at least 300 hours worth of footage we shot.
Mm.
So once we have there are more stories. We could have made the documentary longer. We could have told other kinds of stories.
Hmm.
So there's just a being able to have the kind of footage that we had to hone it down into what we did. Also, I
Mm.
think is part of the reason why it was notable, because we really did honed it in. You got the
Hmm.
best of the best and the most focused story that we
Hmm.
could have
Hmm.
possibly told out of all that footage.
Cool.
Mhm.
Again, everybody, we're talking here with Frank Goodin, and I know that many of you are already are part of this new project that he's working on. And if you're actually part of it and you're in the chat room right now, just drop me a number 3 in the chat. Just drop me a number 3 in the chat. Before we go, we're gonna get into this new project very, very soon. But before we do, let me just check the question to see if any of these questions we should look at them now.
Yeah, and I love
Um,
questions. Yeah, like you said, I was smiling when because I love it when we get deep, when we can drill down.
Cynthia Garner says, I believe at my age, almost 54, I can possibly do some acting. What do you
Mhm.
suggest?
That's a good question. You absolutely can do some acting. In fact, when you mentioned about the age 54, really, in a lot of fundamental ways, acting really is, about experience, and it's about you do have to have talent. You do have to have some talent. So if you feel like you have acting talent in general, then you probably do have some. But more importantly, acting when it comes to the kind of acting that we're talking about, acting for the screen or even voice acting, it's about having life experiences that you can relate to and tap into and put yourself there. And at 54, you've lived life, and you have a whole lifetime of life experiences that you personally can tap in. And if not, then people who can help you get there. So what I suggest is, it's so funny. A good way to break into acting, if you feel like that's what you want to do, is what we're doing right now at Life or Death, voice acting.
Right?
Because the way the industry is now, in like generally speaking, and excuse me, all that what you're hearing, that's on my side too. I
Hmm.
don't know if you guys are hearing that. I can hear it loud and clear in my headphones. So
Yeah, I
hoping
can.
that my girls
It's okay. It's not
loud. I'm
too
hoping the
disturbing.
girls can be quiet.
Ayana,
Right,
quiet.
right. Because they make noise. But
That's all right.
about my mic a little bit. So the voice acting, the reason why taking the voice acting route is a good one is because you don't need to have all the other elements right now. You can just focus on your performance and your voice, and we're not seeing you. So no makeup, don't matter what you look like. We're so struck with physical appearance anyway, generally speaking, in entertainment, that don't need to worry about all that. It's just you can focus on just your talent and how you can express yourself, and then it's just a matter of finding projects that your voice is good for or what you are good for. So ironically, I'm going to suggest exploring voice acting, and then there's some other things too if you want me to go down that rabbit hole with you.
So OG says, my sister is trying to get hired. So OG, did you tell her about the project? Well, if she hasn't heard, she's probably gonna she'll hear tonight. Let's see if you can ask one more question before we get into um, your the new project. So first gen corporate, uh, always love films. It's a good escape from reality for sure, for sure. Could you please describe the inflection point in your life when pursuing your film career was certain?
First gen. I love that question. That's a great
It's a
question.
really good question because I was about to ask that too. So you're right on point there, first Jane. Go ahead, Frank.
That's what's up. That's what's up. So I talk about it from time to time, but I don't talk about it enough, and I actually don't go deep enough. And I think it's appropriate here with Life or Death because, um, so I was on a whole different path in college. I was actually I'm a nerdy type. I'm the nerd type. I grew up watching Star Trek, and my favorite character was Mr. Spock, and it was so influenced me that I actually wanted to, I kind of saw myself, envisioned myself um, taking an engineering route, and I I kind of started on that route at the University of North Florida, and I was going to do some other things, but I quickly found out I just didn't like dealing with. I didn't like the fact that you have to go all the way in on mathematics, calculus and calc 1, calc 2, calc 3, and then everything that comes after that. And I was much more socially oriented. And that was right around the time when I saw Do the Right Thing by Spike Lee. And I believe I saw it in the early 90s, like in the early 1990s. And as soon as I saw it, it was quite an interesting phenomenon. What I saw was an African American, a black man, kind of set the conversation, set the stage, set the agenda for conversation for the entire country with that one movie. And so it was because it was such a socially relevant, socially conscious film with a powerful message, that absolutely, I saw the power of film in that, and it got my attention. And as soon as I began to think about it seriously, a thought came to me. Like, I was thinking, wow, if he could do it, I could do it. And this is the part that I don't talk a whole lot about. But as soon as I had this thought that I could do it, I'm going to say this was God inspired. Something, I felt it in my spirit. This is what you're going to do. And I like the way he asked that question, because he asked, okay, at what point did you know that it was certain, your film career was certain? And that was the point that I knew it was certain. And that was, a guy who was just, pivoting off of, space, working on, the space shuttle, now wanting to make movies. And I knew it beyond a shadow of a doubt that I was going to be a filmmaker.
You knew that you were going to be a filmmaker at that point. Just to extend on that, were there any other filmmakers, producers, writers, directors who influenced you?
Spike Lee was the biggest. That's a good question too. John Singleton. So what happened was, that period, early 90s specifically, and maybe even part of the late 80s, but early 90s was like explosion, almost a kind of interesting little semi-renaissance for Black films, for Black filmmakers. And so there was a lot of back-to-back really influential and interesting movies by Black directors coming out. And so Spike was the number one. He was the impetus, and and he's a brilliant filmmaker. And I saw a lot of just high, like, first of all, genius, and then technique with what he was doing. But I admired Ice Cube. It's gonna come to me. I can't believe it just escaped me. John Singleton's first film, the one he broke out with. Ice Cube's in it. Cooper
Oh, yeah. That's the one with Nia Long and
Nia Long. Somebody can type it in the chat in a minute.
somebody type it in the chat.
Yeah,
boys in the hood.
Boys in the hood. So, and then from there, it was just a lot of films that was just right on that track. Just a beautiful time for strong, powerful Black filmmaking. So I'm gonna put John Singleton in that. And then there were a few of the greats who aren't Black who inspired me as well during that time. So everybody was any of why is it I'm drawing blanks all of a sudden with names. Why? Saving Private Ryan. Come on.
Oh, Saving
Um,
Private Ryan.
yeah. E.T. This
Oh,
was back
okay.
in the 80s. Trying to
Hmm.
remember. It's gonna come to me in a minute, guys. Help me out. I don't know why all of a sudden I'm drawing blanks. This is that introverted part coming out, making me draw.
I don't
Um,
know. I don't know the move.
Steven
The
Spielberg.
writer.
Steven
Who was
Spielberg.
that?
Steven
Oh,
Spielberg.
Sting. Oh, of course, of course.
Uh,
Wow.
yeah, incredibly
Oh.
visual director.
Hmm. Hmm.
So incredibly visual director. And so, some of the greats also
Hmm.
inspired me at that time, but I really didn't learn too much more about filmmaking and some of the craft of some of the best filmmakers until I actually got to film school.
Okay. Give
Mhm.
big shout out to First Gen again for that awesome question. Big shout out to Gary Dixon over there in the UK. Tuned in. He's also a music producer and musician. He's so a lot of creative people here. I always seem to associate with a lot of creative people. As a matter of fact, the show that I used to do, I used to only feature artists, recording artists primarily, but people in various different types of performing arts as well, filmmakers, actors, writers, and so forth. So that's actually why when this project came about, I was kind of interested in it because I was like, I've never seen anything like it before. And even though I wasn't necessarily interested in being a voice actor or an actor, I was just interested in it because it is just, it's in the arts, you know.
Mhm.
So people might I don't know if you ever wondered from the beginning, well, you know, why is Millissa interested in this? Well, it's kind of just because I was interested in arts in general
Mhm.
anyway. But we're gonna come to all the different little roles in a little bit. Big shout out to Sincere again. She had said Boys in the Hood, and OG for she's got Boys in the Hood. You know, there's like about a 30-second, 60-second delay. So
Yeah,
that when we're talking about something,
yeah,
they'll answer it a little bit later. Of course,
yeah,
you're a YouTuber. You already know that.
yeah.
Um, Let us see else. What else we have here? The
They
Hughes
were.
brothers were big at the time too.
Yeah,
I'm not quite sure who those
yeah,
are.
they were. Came
She
out.
Stole My Thunder is big in movies. She's very interested in movies. We all have brain. Yeah.
Brain farts
What
for sure.
what? But you do seem too young for those.
I saw them all.
Question. All right, we do have another question from before, so we'll come to that one in a minute.
Mm.
Um, mm, mm, mm. oh yeah, so yeah, making connections here as well. Oh, the interview went well. Oh my gosh, I missed that one. I totally missed that one. And this is the multi-award-winning musician. Novelty is here. I always wanted to act.
Can I speak on that a little bit?
Yeah, sure.
Um, because we had it before, and like you said, you're kind of telling your story about you weren't necessarily thinking that you might want to act.
Hmm.
Part of what we're doing, and we'll get into it like we know, but part of what I want this to be is something that's inspirational for creators in any way.
Mm.
So, people who like when I'm hearing people say, I've always wanted to act, I'm also running into people who say, I've always wanted to write, and I'm coming up on challenges with writing or really any aspect of the create. We have some people who say, hey, I want to be a YouTube creator, or I want to do kind of what you're doing. I want to actually write and direct and the whole nine. This is the time to do it. And this is the time to do it for so many reasons. Basically, the process really has been democratized in terms of, YouTube is really all about you now, and you can certainly go out and you can use this as we are about to show. You can use this platform in a lot of creative ways, and one of those ways is pursuing, this passion for acting or for filmmaking or for storytelling. And the way that you do it is we have to come together as a community and we bring our passions and our talents, whatever it is that we want to do, and we synergize and collaborate with people who want to do the other things. So I hope to be somewhere in the mix with not only showing people how to do what we're going to do. We got to do it first, and people got to see it. And then once we do it, we show people, okay, if this is what you want to do too, then you can. Let's create a community, a creative community. We're gonna have people who can write things that Frank Gooden could never write, and with perspectives that Frank Gooden simply does not have, and with talented people who have never acted before, and but then who can come in here and deliver amazing performances like the ones that I know we are going to get from several people in our crew. We can do it. This whole thing with what Hollywood that used to be, that you needed to be connected. You really did. Um, and get into the Hollywood system and move to LA or move to New York, and to get a legitimate start. Those days are over, and all we have to do is be willing to start from the very at the very beginning, basically from the bottom. We can build it ourselves, and what we're about to do is going to be a demonstration of that.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. And I love the way you kind of set that up as well. So we're gonna do a little bit of a little preview, and then we're gonna go in. We're gonna go in. So we're gonna just give a little preview of what's coming up on Saturday, and then we're gonna talk all about it. All right. So guys, tell your friends we're about to get into the real part of the real source of the show tonight. This is the part where we're going to be talking about life or death. Life or Death is the name of the graphic novel. And even before we get to that, you had mentioned that you tried to get this piece of work up 4 times, and it got sort of pushed down or got rejected in some way or other, different reasons. Um, what made you decide to do something different? Before we even go into what it is, what made you decide to just sort of do something different?
Hmm. Let me tell you. So this whole thing is, I feel like God inspired from the beginning. I think my career is God inspired. Just me doing what I'm doing. You can see it's very intentional too. That in my work, I try to, like, I don't want to do something that somehow is absent, um, expressing what I feel about God. And I think I don't think, like, it dropped on me. And
Mm,
here's the interesting thing: I actually have some witnesses like this. Here's the way it happened. I wasn't thinking about YouTube not too long ago.
mhm,
Just a
mhm,
few months ago.
mm.
Wasn't thinking about I'm teaching and I'm kind of in the traditional mode, and I saw TLA.
Ah.
TLA.
Shout out to TLA.
Shout out to TLA. Ran into him watching his streams, and here you have this person who's very open, very encouraging, and asking people, insisting, hey, you need to get a YouTube. This is what
Mm,
I did, and then being very open with this platform, bringing people up, and letting people speak on whatever it is that their points of view, just very unique at the time, and in a very warm, opening, and accepting environment. And so I called into the first time I ever did anything on YouTube was on Lay's show.
oh,
First time, and I was a nervous wreck. I don't think people could really tell, 'cause I was actually pretty cool with it. But it was the first time ever that I was on any
wow.
YouTube thing, and from there, got more comfortable with it, and in TLA was sort of like, hey, people are kind of responding to you. They seem to like your points of view. When are you gonna start a YouTube channel? So finally decided to start one, and so while when I started the YouTube channel, I started it with the notion, this is my main channel, Talk with Frank Gooden, of just speaking and kind of talking about different things. I wasn't really thinking about my artistry at the time that I started it. But then during that, basically the idea dropped on me, where I kind of remember the train of thought, because I was thinking about a number of things, and it all together. It literally did. And when I had the idea, I shared it with a few people,
Mhm.
Tell you, they probably thought I was crazy because of how like it was coming out. Like I was telling the whole thing, and I told the story about how when it dropped on me, I didn't go to sleep that night. I think I finally laid down around 4:30 a.m. I think I had the idea around, I can remember the time. It was a Tuesday. It was 10 o'clock p.m. Dropped on me, started writing. Thank you.
Sorry, I meant to do that earlier.
Agreed. Snuck it in.
I gotta drop that
Nice, nice.
in.
And I wrote it. I planned everything out. Planned it out. I just wrote it all out. And so I'm sitting there writing to about 4:30 in the morning before I laid down. Had everything out. I could see the vision. It was very plain for me, and I knew I was going to execute it. So then it was about executing the vision step by step by step. So you're asking some great questions, Millissa, because I'm telling you, I don't talk about that part of it.
Really?
Yeah, I don't talk about that part of it really.
No, we just want to just get the raw stuff out here, man. Um,
How it happened. I
what does Cynthia say? Frank Goodin, I think we need to talk. We're gonna go back into the chats and see what you guys are saying. Um, but let me just go ahead and just drop these guys. We have about 14, 15 people with us right now, and it looks like we have 14 likes, which is pretty good. If we can get a couple more people in, just tell people that we're gonna get into the meat of the show right now and talk about life or death. Just tell one or two people. Just tell one or two people who may have heard some little whisperings about it, may just want to know a little bit more about this project, because it's big, guys. This is a big project, and it's unique is what I really like about it. I like things that are a little bit different. So let's just give you a little preview. And if you don't know what to do for Saturday, there's going to be something started on Saturday. It starts on Saturday, and you need to be a part of it. So check this out, guys. Yes, it all starts this Saturday. It all starts this Saturday. Frank, what's going on? What's happening? What's starting on Saturday? What's going on, man?
love this question. So this is when we get a chance to talk about the concept. And I appreciate that you're excited about it because I'm just as excited. And I try to, when it comes to stuff like this, I try not to be like, I don't want to be over the top with
Mhm.
like telling people, oh, this is the greatest thing since sliced bread. This is the greatest.
You don't have to, because
Feel
we're
like
gonna do it.
is.
We'll do that. We'll do that part for you, because I know that you're such a humble guy. But listen, man, this thing is big. Go ahead, Micah. Go ahead.
Yeah. So let me explain to people if you don't know, okay, what am I calling? What is a live graphic
Mhm.
novel experience? And the best way that I can describe it for people is imagine going to a stage play where you're seeing live actors and you're watching the story, via live actors, except that the stage play is on our screen, and instead of props on stage, we are using illustrations that I animate. All right, so it's a stage play for the screen,
Wow.
a full story. And in our particular case, instead of watching a stage play that has been rehearsed ahead of time, and it's a full stage play. Stage plays run at least an hour and a half, like films. Um, and you go in and you kind of sit down and you got your stage play. And so, if I'm going to keep the analogy going, you might expect something like this Saturday night, but instead, I've split it up into 16 or 17 different parts. I think it's 17. And you're going to instead be watching this story unfold over 17 weeks, and it will be live in front of you, just like a stage play, except that you will see it all. The first part, when people come in, I'm going to introduce everything and kind of let us know what's going on. But then you're going to see our actors build the performance. They will only have just learned their lines, but I'm building the performance with them. And when you come in, like right now, this is a traditional interview setup where we can see Millissa and myself. But when we get started, when we get to work on Saturday night, all you're going to see is icons like this. And we're going to build our performance and make sure that our actors are where they need to be in terms of understanding. Yeah, thank you, Millissa.
There we go.
Yep. And so it'll be like this. All you can do is hear people work on these voice performances as they hone in on these characters. And then once that happens, we pivot. We shift into actually seeing the the illustrations. Like I'm going to play the story in front of you. And then the fun part, it's going to be all pretty fun. The fun part is you will get to see our actors now apply what they practiced into and try to keep up with what we're seeing so that they're now applying their voices to what we're seeing, and that becomes a performance. So it's not just necessarily, knowing your lines and all that, but now they've got to pay attention and look for visual cues. So this whole time, part of why it's so creative and so unique is because it's rare that you get a chance to see the rehearsal part in an interactive environment, where everybody's here and we get they make a mistake, but we build it. You're going to see everybody nail in on those performances, and then you get to see the visual context, because all you're getting the story a little bit when you hear the voice performances.
Mhm.
But you don't get, I have all kinds of surprises for us visually, so that when you see the story, in addition to the voice performances, we'll do that. So we'll run that a few times, 2 or 3 times to get that down. Then, and there are 2 key parts I don't want us to miss, and I know I'm kind of going, but I want us to get this 2 key parts. One, interactive. I'm deliberately allowing for several parts, a couple parts for every episode, where the audience will get invited into the creative process. And so, while I'm rehearsing, for example, I'm going to be paying attention to the chat as much as I can. And if somebody has something, come up with something that's, whoa, this is something I hadn't thought about. Guess what? You have now become a contributor to Life or Death, and you're a part of it. And there's going to be a part where I am intentional. I'm actually going to canvas our chat for ideas for one particular part on episode 1. So there's that, the interactivity. Then that continues. When we're done with everything and we've seen the story, I open it up for our audience to be able to talk to me, talk to our cast members who were in the production that night, and ask questions. Talk to the talent and ask them, would they have done the same things that the characters did, or ask me, well, why did you have this happen? Or I see some insights in the story. I'm going to invite you to try to guess where the story is going. You won't be able to, but I'm going to invite you to guess. So it's going to be fun. We're just mixing it all up in this live environment. That's what's happening.
This is just such a unique concept. I've never seen it before. So you're literally you're putting out a film, and the cast members of this film are going to literally, well, I already know some of it, so they're going to audition, and then all the auditions have already been completed now. That phase has already been completed. So actually, can you just talk about how you got it started, the audition process first, and then we'll continue on from what's happening this weekend.
Thank you for that. Yeah. So what happened was, for those of you who are just coming to it now, we have already had our casting process. Like I started this back in October, where I put the word out and put the word out. If anyone, would like to potentially act for a character, then you actually produce a monologue. So we have, when you go to the Life or Death channel right now and you look at the stuff we've done, you'll be able to see the first auditions of the monologues of the people who actually ended up, I chose from. And so all that was live. they didn't come in behind the scenes somewhere and practice and kind of do a monologue and I picked. No, it was in front of everybody. So it was a very interesting and new way. It was, I'm sure it was kind of a challenging and daunting for the talent, but it's exciting. It's part of the nature of the project. So I had over total I reviewed something like oh my gosh 300 400 monologue auditions.
Wow, that many.
Yes,
I didn't
yes.
realize it was that many.
Well, what happened was I started the audition process like what I just explained, but as it advanced, I ended up not being able to do it because I was getting so many, and it was
Right.
overwhelming. This is
Yeah.
the first time anybody's doing anything like this, so
Right.
for me it became overwhelming to try
Mm-hmm.
to schedule people for
Mm-hmm.
particular times to do the monologue.
Mm-hmm.
So I said, you know what, now it's time to pivot. Just send me your monologue, send it to
Mm-hmm.
me. And
Mm-hmm.
so that's what ended up happening. I ended up having people send the monologues, and instead
Got you.
I then invited people to the callbacks. And
Right.
so the callbacks are what you remember, where
Yeah.
I had people actually read directly from the script.
Right.
And and so you audition that way. That helped me hone in even further in terms of
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
making casting decisions. All of that's on the channel. So you guys can go back and check out, so you'll know why you're Millissa, and I told Millissa this, and she knows this now, and I kind of I brag on her a little bit. She blew me away with this powerful performance that she gave in her audition. It was like I didn't think all that could come out of this package right here, and it was like it was so for me, I had to, I was always keen on this is something that I got to get in here somewhere. So what you did is partly what kind of made room for what we're going to do with you, and I can't wait for you to get to your part. But you'll see, people like Patrice Garner, um, um, Shinosha Jordan, Sajda Wade, Chef Shapino. When you watch their
Von Bryant.
Von Bryant, yes, and others, you'll see why.
Mhm.
You'll see why I cast them.
So let me get to this question in a little bit, but so let me just explain for those who know me personally. So Novelty and Gary, if you guys are still listening, remember when I sent you that little 2-3 minute clip of me doing this little audition part? This is what it's all about, right? This is what it's all about. And how it first came about, Frank Goodin here is part of our YouTube community. We're all sort of part of the Lead Attorneys community as well. And he talked about this project, this graphic novel. I'm not really into graphic novels, like not something that I really am into at all. But when I heard about this project, I thought, you know what, this is something that I would definitely watch. I'll watch it. I'll check it out. I'm going to support my fellow YouTubers, right? So I decided to show up to the first one, and as I came in, I remember Frank saying to me, something like, "Are you here to audition?" And I'm like, "No." I was in my mind. I said, "I thought, no, I'm not here to audition. I'm just here to watch." But I just stopped myself from saying no. I said, "You know what? Well, why not?" So I went ahead and I auditioned for for a part. Not that same day. That same day, I kind of just went away. I practiced a few things. I asked you for some ideas, and you gave us a list of some monologues, right?
Yep.
List of some monologues to look at. So I chose one. I practiced it a few times, and then I came back the next week and I did it. And it's not something I've ever done before. Yes, Gary's still there. Yes, I'm here, says Novelty. Because I think I sent it to Novelty. I'm not sure if I sent it to you, Gary. Did I? I don't remember. But anyway, she was
committed. You've never done it before.
She was so excited about it. She was like, "Millissa, this is really good." Nothing I've ever done before to read a monologue. But I'm the kind of person that if I get a challenge, I'll be like, you know what? Why not? Believe it or not, Frank, and you probably don't know this, but believe it or not, I have a friend who has a charity. Each year she does some creative ideas for this charity, and was it last year, the year before last? she was doing a kind of like Dancing with the Stars type of show. Dancing with the Stars, right? So local celebrities or local stars. I was one of the local stars type of thing, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But I did a dance, and I'm not really into dance, but I said, you know what? Why not? Let me be one of the stars to dance, and I did some little, I did a dance to Aretha Franklin, I think, or something like that.
I'm not
but
surprised.
but I'm game. I'm up for it. I'll give it a try. And especially that was for charity. I
Mm-hmm.
wanted to help, and we raise funds. So
Mm-hmm.
that's where I kind of get that little, I guess, braveness from. I like
Mm-hmm.
to be a part of things, and I'm very very into the arts as well. So yes, so I got this part novelty. I got a small part in this massive, amazing creation by award-winning, Emmy Award-winning Frank Goodin, and that's where we are today. That's my little piece of this
I'm
puzzle.
glad you're in it. I can't wait.
Um, but yes, so what's happening for Saturday now?
Hmm.
That was the question that
Yeah. So I was
um,
really excited. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
she stole my thunder. Was said, do you need help with note taking on the chat this Saturday? So talk about what's happening Saturday, and you can answer that
Yeah, I
question.
think I know where she's going. Thank you for that. So what's going to happen is this, as you might imagine, with however many people we end up having in the chat, um, the interactivity part is going to be a challenge for me to keep up with because I'm going to be focused, of course, with helping the performers build their performances. So I'll be looking at the chat, but my mind truly will be on trying to help the actors get their best performance as we move forward. So I think that's an astute question you're asking me, Thunder, where I might need to set up some type of system where, hey, if someone, if someone you see something that, hey, pay attention to this, hey, send, I might need to, send my cell phone number out or something. You guys send me some text or something, and pay attention to this one or bring this one up because we know how to, and any of our content creators know how hard it is to keep up with the chat and also stay in the moment with the conversation. So that's an interesting thing. I just might need some. I'll come up with the way, some sort of procedure to handle that as we move forward. That's the other beautiful part about doing something for the first time. We get to, because I'm not intimidated by doing something for the first time. These things, these challenges that come up from having never been done before, it gives you the opportunity to be creative and say, oh, okay, this is a component, let's make this happen. And so, maybe something will come out of that as well. So yeah, I'm looking forward to working something like that out. And yeah, I probably will need some help with note taking.
All right. So we do have some members of the cast members in here as well, and hopefully later on, if they available, we can pull one of them up as well, one or two of them up. OG Patrice is here, of course, and also Vaughn Bryant. Both of them amazing voices. Even just their natural speaking voices are so rich. Both of them. I mean, I'll tell you, yeah, you guys, you got to hear their voices if you haven't already heard them. So don't go anywhere, guys. We're still in the early parts of this show. Welcome, Marva Riley, to the show. Good to have you here, and also Angela Sadler. Sounds like it has some elements of improv.
Hmm.
Do,
It
do
does.
it does? Let's talk
See,
to that a
so
bit.
I embrace that side of it because improv can be powerful. First of all, you can have shows that are just pure improv, and it takes extremely talented people in improv to pull something like that off. We've seen people like Wayne Brady, for example, have an
Hmm.
improv show who's just brilliant and can pull stuff like that off. But improv can be very powerful in environments where you plan for it. And in my particular case, um, in an environment where like I know my story top to bottom. I know where it needs to go, and so I understand where there could be parts that could be improvisational, that won't take us off track. And a lot of times improvisational elements strengthen your stories in ways that you simply just will not come up with. It won't occur to you as a writer, as an author. So I embrace that part. That's part of why it's interact. I'm pushing the interactivity. So yes, I do believe that there are elements of improv, and the way I'm going to characterize it is properly handled. Properly directed. Um, there is a place for improv, and I'm going to do my best to make sure that I use improv in the proper way.
So I noticed that you've given some of the characters a little bit of leeway to kind of do their own thing to a certain degree. Is that
Hmm.
right?
Yep, a little,
A
and
little
and
bit.
and and because we're gonna have a lot of fun with it,
Hmm.
and it's interesting. That old saying. It really is true. Give an inch, take a mile, and and people, and when we're having fun, and especially creative people, in a creative environment,
Hmm.
we have to make sure, it's never going to go where it needs to go if you don't have a sure-minded director who understands where
Right.
you need to go from beginning to end.
Hmm.
So when for all my actors who are in here now, and everybody's going to be a participant, I welcome it, but just don't feel bad if we just don't go with the way that you want to take it. Don't feel bad. Don't feel it. You know what I'm saying? I got to get us where we going.
That's awesome. So we'll just go back to a couple of other questions that I saw before. Um, just want to make sure I don't miss anything. Uh, this is from OG. My sister Cynthia Garner is a great writer. She just needs to hone her craft and get serious about it.
Do it. I encourage you. Hopefully, stuff like this, when you see this story,
Hmm.
which is, I don't want to sound, like I'm bragging. It is a well-written story, and you
Hmm.
guys are going to see them. So hopefully, when you see the power of
Mm.
of well-written work, it will inspire you to say, "Hey, this brother can do it." And I do have a little talent, and I just worked really hard at it. Then you can do it, absolutely. And so, and start. And when it comes to writing, start with the smaller stuff first. You don't necessarily have to write something like an hour and a half. Start with like a little 5 minute, 10 minute, 15 minute piece
Hmm.
that is thorough, that is tight, that's clean, and that expresses a universal theme. And that can be your beginning, to do more of that and bigger and better things.
We're gonna go. We're gonna get into this life or death a little bit more of what the story is about. I know you're not gonna. What I like about this is you're kind of keeping a lot of it secret until the day of the presentation.
Yeah,
So it's so unique in that way. But quick question from OG: How did you feel when you won the Emmy?
that was an amazing. Again, it was the same feeling. Excuse me. It was the same feeling of validation. That's what it meant to me. And it was the same thing when I won the first Black Film Festival. It was, for me, it was, um, I have a place here. I have them, and the thing about this. Thanks for asking about this, because I like to talk about this part. When you are submitting for an Emmy in any region, with a production, especially a production like a documentary, which has to be a minimum of 1 hour, so you're talking a full, like a serious production. um, these they have teams of people, 20, 30, 40 people, all throughout the crew of whatever it is that you're doing. It's a whole team. Think about any feature film that you go, how long those credits roll in terms of narrative, feature films, how long those credits roll.
I
How
know there's so many people that's involved in this, and and I've got to say you're doing most of this stuff by yourself, right?
Yes,
Most of this.
currently. Yeah, yes, yes. Now, yes, absolutely. Like, I'm editing and all that. And on that point, it's like, so with the when we won the Emmy, it was only three people on our
Wow.
crew. It was myself,
Wow.
Sue Ross, and Bernardo Santana. We did everything in terms of the production. The
Hmm.
production work. It
Mm.
wasn't about us. So we had to go out and interview the people whose
Hmm.
lives covered. But all of the production work, it was just three of us, and we were competing against, news teams, because documentary
Wow.
is a journalism category. So we were competing with news teams and just teams of people that had, 20, 30, 40 people on the crew, and we won it. And so when you talk about that question, OG, how did it feel? It really, it again solidified that, listen, and understand your craft. You have an
Mm-hmm,
MFA in filmmaking. That's a terminal degree, but terminal degree is supposed to signify that you have mastered your craft. But when
mm-hmm,
you go out in the real world and you compete with
mm-hmm,
your peers, and
mm-hmm.
you have a group of people who you've never met, all come together and say, this work is the highest level. You get this is your recognition for it. That's what it meant for me. Validation, and yes, you definitely know what you're doing here. And so that's what it was. It was just more validation. And validation is a beautiful, fulfilling thing to have, happen
Mm,
to you.
yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
So here's a question for you. And if you're hearing about this for the first time, Gary, it might not make complete sense right now, because I remember even when I first heard it about it, I'm like, what does it mean? What's a graphic novel? Is it gonna be, we're gonna see it on screen? Is it gonna be on a movie? Is it gonna be, how is it gonna be done? So just explain again, even if you've explained it one time, Frank,
Mhm.
explain again um, the concept of this, because he's asking when is it coming to England, and you
Mhm.
could probably answer that question in the way how you explain this.
Yeah. So first I'll say immediately, it's coming to England on Saturday
On
night, 8
Saturday
p.m.
night,
Yeah,
right?
Saturday night. Now it won't be 8 p.m. your time.
Right.
It'll be whatever time it is. I think you guys are ahead of us
What
by
it's going to be? It's going to be 1 o'clock, 1 o'clock in the morning your time.
There
So
you go. So
you,
I was
you're always staying up late, Gary. So you can definitely be a part of this.
boom, boom. So thanks for saying that. So it's because this is a live production, like everything that we do, we're gonna do it live in front of you. So it's a stage play live, but for the screen. And so Gary, what you will witness with the whole group of people watching all at the same time will be the story of life or death kind of unfolding for you. But you get to see the nuts and bolts. You're gonna see all that stuff that we people normally do, that's behind the curtain and ahead of time with working out. You're gonna, at the first time you hear the lines, they're not gonna be where they need to be, but you're gonna see the growth. And that's gonna be entertaining for a lot of people. Maybe for some people, maybe it might not necessarily be. We'll see how it works out for them. But what it is going to be for people who aspire to do this as well is instructive. You get a chance to see what the elements of performance are. And as you might imagine, it's definitely much more than, say, memorizing some lines and then getting up and saying it. There's definitely a skill and a technique to performing, as well as talent. And so we get to see that unfold, and then you get to see that expressed in the story. So yeah, Saturday night, Gary.
So here's a way to, another way to explain it, Gary, because Gary's he's a multi-award winning producer now. Just remembering that you're also a multi-award winning. Before I couldn't have said that 2 years ago, but that's about 2 3 years now. He started to get to rack in all of his awards. But when you put together your double album, Gary, and you did the concert at the Ark, I think it was at the Ark Church, um, and you had all those different rehearsals for what was it, for 6 months, a year? I don't know how many rehearsals you had, but each of those rehearsals, this is what Frank is doing. All of the rehearsals are going to be done live. And just as you had done your adjustments and you check things here and this is not working or whatever, it's going to be adjusted and molded and fixed up and perfected as the audience is watching. And what I like about what you're doing, Frank, is that the audience can actually be a part of the final thing. So just like you said, you're going to be getting feedback from the audience each week,
Yes.
and they're going to be part of the final thing.
Hmm.
Is that a good way to explain it, Frank?
That is, yes, you nailed it. That's
Wow,
it.
and this is so unique because it's a little bit like it might even be little bit like those music contests on TV, like The Voice or something like that.
Mhm.
Would you liken it to that a little bit,
Yeah,
or
there's
no?
some synergy there because in contests like we see with The Voice, or some of these other ones, we do see some of the, like we see with The Voice, we obviously see the auditions
Mm,
and the competition, but we do get to see a little bit of the kind of the nuts and bolts, the behind the scenes as they prepare for whatever their performances are going to be. And there's also some synergy there with the fact that it's almost like reality TV style, where we're watching the
mm,
reality of people interacting with each other
mhm.
in this live environment. So yeah, so there's some of that as well. Um, that what separates this is that we get to use all this rehearsing, where we all come together to create something that has already been written, and so we're producing something together, merging our talents. And so in an interesting way, that's a little bit different than any of these reality TV shows, because of course they are competing, they're bringing their talent in order to compete with each other. We're bringing all of our talents together to combine and make something
Wow.
bigger
Yes.
than any one of us can do, which is beautiful.
Right. 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 And also the fact that it's a graphic novel. Now you've obviously written a movie. You've written a movie or a movie, a stage play, or a story,
Hmm.
and there's that graphic novel element. Now,
Yes.
for people that don't know what graphic novel is, can you
Hmm.
explain that a little bit more?
Great question too. Yes. So graphic novels, number one, first thing you can think of, and you wouldn't be wrong, you can just think comics, right? Just a typical, basically animations in terms of the format itself. And for example, I'll go ahead and, like, so this, you can look at this as a comic. This is book one of the graphic
Mm,
novel series. And so, first of all, think about it like a comic, but,
mhm,
but graphic novels tend to not be about, the subject matter doesn't tend to be about what American comics typically are about, which are superheroes and fantastic elements and or high concept science fiction things. Graphic novels tend to be like super gritty, super realistic, and usually about mature things that are dramatized in real life. So it's not necessarily about a superhero or Batman, Superman, Spider-Man. No, it's rather about some serious story that have high elements of drama or thriller or um, ultra hyper realistic situations that are just really serious. And so you can almost say that a graphic novel is a snooty way or a super serious way of a comic, and so in this case, this graphic novel is about a really, really serious subject matter, um, that we'll probably talk about when I get into the story a little bit. But allows me a little bit of chance to put a little bit of shine on the person who illustrated the graphic novel,
mm,
and
mhm,
that's Human Park. Human
mhm,
Park is a person who drew out. I worked with her for a year and a half to do all five
mm,
graphic. This is a 5-part series in the graphic novel format. And Human is an extraordinarily talented artist who was able to, when you're illustrating, it's one thing to be able to be a talented illustrator. It's another thing to be able to vibe into the emotions, the emotional um, condition of the characters, and then put those in a kind of environment that feels like a living environment, even though it's illustrated on the page. And she hit it out the park.
mm,
And so this went that step. which was taken several years after I wrote the script, was also a God connection. She's a
Mm,
Christian, and
mm.
she's on fire. She's on fire for God. And
Oh.
she brought her talent to this story, and she executed it visually, in excellent fashion. And so, like this, I wouldn't be able to now take this step of animating, because I will personally be animating the stills. These are still pictures that go through and tell the story. I'm now going in and animating those, and I wouldn't be able to take this step with animating them and then having, a group of talented people, over 20 of you from all over this country, lend your voice talents to bring these characters to life in this live fashion that we're doing. So thanks for asking about what is a graphic novel, because that allowed me the chance to talk about the greatness and the talent of Human Park, who was a very key step, in what we're doing now.
So, excuse me. So you say it's actually going to be animated as well?
Yes, like so it's limited because it's not a cartoon. So
Uh-huh.
animated. When you think animated, you think full cartoon. That's
Yeah.
actual cartoon like stuff that you see. Like, I don't know how many people, watch like Avatar or any typical cartoon, where it's not going to be animated in that way, where it's
Oh.
frames per second, but it is animated. Like, I'm just not throwing still pictures up there for you and then letting the still pictures be there, and the person is talking. No, I'm doing some animations. I'm bringing people
Okay.
through it for
Oh
sure.
my word, this is massive. And somebody actually said that this is epic in the chat. It's so cool. It's so cool. Um, Let me just get to some of these questions as well as we're going through. Uh,
Yes. Welcome.
well, of course, my friend said she's so proud of me. So thank you, Novelty. I let her see it. She was like, "Wow, this is so cool." Um, are you looking for a unique voice? I came across an amazing voice today. That's Gary. Um,
Always looking for you. Now we're pretty much cast there. I think there might be one or two more roles overall that are still out there that I'm casting for, and we can talk about that a little later. But
yeah,
but
connect
yeah.
with the. I can connect you with Frank.
Mhm.
With,
But here's the
with
key thing about that too. Just on the back end of this, I'm going to open this up. I want to show people how to do it so that we have more and more opportunities of other creators who can do
hmm
either exactly what we're doing or something
hmm
like it. And
hmm
then, of course, after all that, I'm going to continue to do other projects. So you just never know
And
what.
also, Gary, you had also mentioned about doing I think it was like converting your album into a stage play or a performance. So who knows what you could do with what you've already got. He's already got started. He's got a
I totally see him doing
double
that.
album.
Mhm.
Let's just go to here's a question from Novelty, recording artist. So we'll go to a website to watch it then.
Somebody post the link to Life or Death so that they know exactly
It's
where how
actually
we're
going to
going to
be
post
on
it.
YouTube. It's going to be on YouTube. This is the link is YouTube
Mm,
Life or Death. Life or Death is the extension off of
mhm,
youtube.com/c/life
mhm.
or death. That's exactly where you can find it. Saturday night. And what time does it start on Saturday?
8 p.m. Eastern.
Um,
8 p.m. Eastern
8
time.
p.m. Eastern on Saturday. 8 p.m. Eastern. So put that into your schedules, guys. That's going to be
Yeah.
8 p.m. Eastern every Saturday night.
Yeah.
And just talk about the schedule for a little bit.
hmm So the schedule is that I'm hoping. Great questions, Millissa. Thanks for asking these questions. I'm like setting up layers. I get to come in with the alley oop and dunk me. So what's cool is that I picked one time. I want it to be Saturdays at 8 p.m. Eastern for the next 4.5 months. And so the hope is that once we have a very, consistent time that people know when the
hmm
next episode is coming, and it's just like any other episodic TV show that, we're used to seeing in the past, where, okay, you knew that, Game of Thrones was coming on, I think, Saturdays at whatever it
hmm
was. So that was the time that everybody earmarked to go catch that next episode of Game of Thrones. And in doing so, my hope is that, it's likely going to start small, where, we're getting the word out, and, it is what it is. You're not going to be able to get everybody and reach everybody before, But over time, as the word spreads, if the story hits like I hope and pray that it will, and really expect that it will, then week after week, you're gonna see this audience grow, 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 so that by the time we get to the end, the third act, the climax, man.
This is good Saturday night. This is good Saturday night entertainment. This
Yes,
is good Saturday
Saturday.
night entertainment. This is
You
for the
know,
next.
people, people. So Saturday nights is an entertaining day. People go out and that kind of thing. But for those people who just, from week to week, maybe they don't, have anything, they don't do anything,
Mm,
then they can catch it live at that time. Again, and it's not 8 p.m. everywhere. It's just on the East Coast. It could be different
mhm,
times. But
mhm,
even if you miss it live, you'll be
mhm.
able to, of course, come back to it whenever. So.
How long is it going to last for on each Saturday night?
I feel like on the production aspect,
Mhm,
where we're going to do the rehearsals and then
mhm,
the actual execution of the show, that will probably last, if I had to guess, roughly 90 minutes. It's going to take a little while to get the actors where they need to be. It's going to take
mhm,
us a few times to run it through, so
mhm,
people get, people going to really see what the show is about, because we do that multiple times. However, after that, as I mentioned, we open it up to people discussing what they've
mhm,
seen.
mhm, mhm.
And so you just never know how long that part will last. And that's a Saturday night. I'm gonna be right here. So that's lasting long.
But it's
I'll
going to
get
be
going.
as long as it takes. We're just here for it, and people are excited already. I
Yeah.
can't wait to see it. Says First Gen Corporate.
Mm,
Um, I'm excited. Says Gary. Um, Junior Martin is also a musician, a drummer, wicked,
mm,
wicked drummer out
mm,
of the UK. Sounds like it's going to be dope.
mm.
Again, we have recording artist Novelty is in the house. We have film buff French speaker. She stole my
She
thunder.
stole
For
my
those,
thunder. And hey, we should say here too, we want to point out that She Stole My Thunder named one of our characters, and just as a testament to this interactivity part that we're talking about, She Stole My Thunder is a contributor
Mhm.
to to this, because she named one of the characters. I forget which one, if it was Clarence or Caroline, you can remind us, but she named one of them.
Cool.
Mhm.
OG Patrice, I'll be tuning in. You'll be tuning in. You'll be in, girl. You'll be
You're right.
in. um, let's see. Let me just go back to some of these other comments back here.
This is so good, Millissa. This is so awesome. I'm so glad you're doing this show. Like I said,
Oh,
you're
what?
helping warm me up now. I'm telling you. Once we get in it, I'm cool. But this is
Ah,
good stuff.
man, you're very cool. Sophia says, with your angels in your life, will that inspire you to work on children's films, to go in another direction?
I think so. Like, so I've actually written early on, a couple stories that were children
Hmm.
in focus, kids in focus. It's just a
Mhm.
matter of what direction, what you just end up doing next. I do believe so. We'll just have to kind of wait and see. Right now, my daughters are kind of little kiddies now. You just never know. They might be teenagers by the time I get to, doing something that's for them. My
Mhm.
oldest daughter is an artist, and a good one too. I should
Mhm.
be, be proud papa, start go pulling her stuff up. She's drawing, but you just never know. I might end up working with my kids on
Wow, that
stuff
would be
like that.
nice, wouldn't it? That would be
Mhm,
special.
mhm.
Um, Let me go to this next one here. I saw some below here. Let's just make sure I catch all these. We got that one already. Let me uncheck that one.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, it's all
Uh,
across the world. So it's on YouTube. It's all across the world, guys.
mhm.
YouTube.
YouTube
Yep.
presentation, yeah. And you just, since you kind of going through that, just a quick
Mhm.
note on that. That's part of what makes this whole thing special. Think about it, guys. We in 2022, we live in a world where, just when I was in film school, or before, when I was in college making my decision to make films, we didn't live in a world where we all could come together at the same time like this and interact, and definitely, share our talents in this way and get out here. Guys, this world is here now. So when we talk about a YouTube presentation, that's one of the strengths of this. And this is just a baby step towards what people are going to be doing when the metaverse gets built out. This is just a baby step. This bringing people together from wherever you are to in this case, collaborate together. So I'm really it's part of why I'm so excited to be. I feel like the first to show me who else is doing this, because I haven't found it. And what's also special, and I don't make a huge deal out of it, but it is noteworthy, is that this is an African diaspora production. We're all Black people up here on YouTube doing this for the first time. Not copying anybody. No other group of people is getting up here and doing this first. We're doing this together first. So
That's huge. That's mega. That's huge, Frank, because oftentimes we're following after somebody else, but this is something that people from the African American or Black diaspora are doing collectively. All of the actors is it
it's almost it's a couple actors who aren't Black, but it's overwhelmingly predominantly Black production.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. And it's so creative. It's so creative. I haven't seen anything else like this. So, and not that I know everything, but for the most part, all the people that are part of this, nobody has seen anything like it. Is that correct?
I do believe so. I mean, to me, it would be easy to try to to me, it would jump out.
Yeah.
What we're doing is it's bombastic. We're bringing talent together from all over the country, and we're all interacting, and we're saying we're acting together to put something out for people.
Right.
So different than us coming together and having conversations about important topics. That's cool, and that is a form of collaboration in a way. But this is creative, artistic, focused. People all coming together. Someone wrote it, someone is the illustrator, someone animated it, someone else are putting their voice talent together, someone else is scoring it, and we're all coming together.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, can we talk about the scoring? Can we talk about some of the other elements that we haven't spoken about yet? Because I think the scoring, I do remember a previous session that you had, and the musician, I think it was the producer, he was on the call as well. Could you talk about that element? Because that's huge.
Yeah, it's a big deal, and it's also a challenge too. In terms of just like when you talk about scoring of any produced visual work, people underestimate the importance of sound in general when it comes to visual work. People always focus on the visual, and when it comes to things like clean and strong and professional audio, in terms of just people being able to pay attention to the subject, and then the absolutely incredible importance of using music to underscore, which probably is what score comes from, where you're just underscoring and supporting the emotional direction and thrust of what's happening. Music is the universal language, as any musician will tell you, and using music in often sometimes in ways where there's no dialogue will drive the story where you need. So having someone who, like Frank C. Cleveland III, who I've worked with in the past and is an experienced musician, to be able to score the project, is just as critical, in a foundational way, as all these other elements that are coming together.
Beautiful, beautiful. So on Saturday, it's going to be the first episode. Is that right? Or is it the first part of the episode? Are you going to do like episode one? You're going to be doing the full episode, one episode per week.
Correct. That's correct. And let me look into, because I keep saying 16 or 17. Let me actually, because I have it right here. I can just tell us how many I broke it down to. So just making sure I'm not skipping anything. Yeah, 17 total episodes.
17 total episodes.
So that, when you look at it, one a week, that's like 4 months That's 4 months and a week.
So this is not something that's just gonna, two, three episodes and it's done. This is going on for some months, guys.
That's
And then
right.
what's so great is at the end of it, then you're gonna have to take all of that content. Now, I mean, obviously, I'm kind of sort of going ahead of myself here, but
Hmm.
each week you're going to be doing some of the editing to find the best parts, and you're going to be doing it as we go along. You're not going to wait until the end, right?
Oh no, no. Actually, I'm gonna get to the end because it's gonna be because think about. So I'm glad you asked this question because this gets into that. This is that territory of this has never been done before. So how
Right.
are you gonna execute this type?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I love it. So because I'm the person that's doing the animating week to week of every episode that we see, I won't have time, like flat out, to also build it as we go. You see
Oh,
what I'm
okay.
saying?
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah.
instead, I'll be focusing week to week
Mhm,
on making sure that that episode is
mhm.
proceeded with as much excellence as I possibly can to
Right,
for our audience, and then at the very end, once we see everything, then the treat will be okay. And you can almost look at the performances and the live things. People will be getting the story, but you can almost look at that as like the unofficial version
right,
because when we see a film from beginning to end, it absolutely should be the best takes of everything, the most powerful parts of all these
right,
different performances as we go.
right.
So yeah, that's gonna be part of my, it's like when I make that comparison to the documentary where we
Yeah,
have 300 hours of footage.
right.
You know,
Yeah.
I'm gonna have however many number of hours of footage and I'm going to have to go through and pull out the absolute best, most impactful and powerful performances of all of you, match it to what I've already produced with the animations by this time,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
then, get Frank to put together that solid score to underscore everything. And then everybody can then watch what, from beginning to end, what we created in pieces all along.
Wow. This is. I mean, when you think about the amount of hours, the amount of work this is going to take, doesn't that frighten you at all?
It's a challenge. No, it doesn't frighten me. It excites me.
Man, this is huge. So there's going to be so many hours of work because each episode over the next what was it, 17 weeks, you're going to
Mhm.
have all those hours of work. Um, and is there any chance that the story will, let's say, change at all from beginning to end? Because you're gonna obviously you have the story already written out, but are
Mhm.
there elements that could, like, let's just say, change slightly or go into a different direction?
Mm-mm, there's no
No.
chance for that. But
Okay.
there is a chance for what we talked about. So the overall story is what it is, and it's powerful, and I can't wait to, for people to experience it.
Hmm.
But what can change, and what there are very particular parts where I can allow for our interaction to shade it
To
in some
to
very
shade it. Hmm.
interesting, yeah, in some
Hmm.
very interesting ways, in ways that I can't frankly anticipate because I'm going to be allowing it. But there is some leeway in terms of how a few things can be expressed.
Mm.
And there was one thing, maybe two, that are pivotal
Hmm.
that happened in the second act climax and in the final climax that I will that 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 the audience will have some input on
Hmm.
that, and there's space for it to go in some interesting ways, and they are very powerful moments, and they might even be semi-controversial moments actually, where the audience gonna have their say. I'm gonna open it up to the audience.
Really? Wow,
You
that
want
sounds
this
so.
or this to happen?
Oh man, that is cool. That is so cool. Novelty says, "Wow, seriously, this is mind blowing. I'm here trying to visualize it." Me too, girlfriend. This is probably the conversation that I've had that has made the most sense to me so far. The amount of times I've listened to, you have different sessions with other people. This is the
Mhm.
first time that I'm really like letting it all sink in, and
Mhm.
seeing it for the big picture that it is. So,
Mhm.
Frank Vaughan asks, how long will each episode be?
Great question, Vaughn. Great question. Let's look the episode itself in terms of screen running time will probably end up being like roughly between 7 to 10 minutes, maybe 8 minutes, 9 minutes in terms of the screen running time that we produce. Now it's going to take us an hour and a half to create that, you know, 9 solid minutes, say, of the actual screen time. So, so you can kind of do the math and you say, well, 9 minutes times, 17 episodes will give you what the total, you know, approximate runtime of what the whole thing will be.
Okay, that's close to 153 minutes. Is what's that?
There you go. So
153
that's a little
minutes.
over 2 hours. If
All
it
right.
ends up being, yeah, if it ends up being nine, there might be a couple episodes
Uh-huh,
that are a
uh-huh.
little shorter. In fact,
Okay, that's really
maybe
good.
just that.
Uh,
Let's say seven times 17, whatever that might be.
right, right. Frankie's making me sit at the edge of my seat. We're excited to see what this is, how this unfolds. And what's so good about it is each week might be kind of like a little bit of a cliffhanger to find out what's going to happen next week. What's going to happen next week. So it's just
That's
really
all great episodic television does that.
right. And you're obviously experienced at that. So it's going to keep us wanting more and excited to see the next episode each and every week that comes by. So it's really really great.
Mhm.
All right. So if you were to let me just go to some questions. Let me go to some notes here. Let's make sure I have
Mhm.
everything
Mhm.
covered here. Um, we're going to just go through sort of rapid fire questions, and not rapid fire, but at least just to make sure that we haven't forgotten everything. Because I have a sense that we've probably caught everything, but I just want
Mhm.
to make sure that we, just in case we haven't.
Yep.
What are we doing together? What's going to be happening? What is this project in a nutshell to
Mhm.
summarize? And what I would like you to do is to actually, if you were to try to take us through the different elements
Mhm.
that's involved in this graphic novel experience,
Mhm.
could you do that?
I could do that, and thanks for asking that. This is good stuff. This is like exclusive stuff you're getting on your channel right now. You get to see, yeah. All right, so let's think about it in steps. Step one, building our performance. There's going to be a part when we all sit down, and it's going to be roughly an hour, maybe a little less, of me working with the students, with the actors, and building our performance. And that's going to be fun because we're going to have fun doing it. The actors are going to be serious about getting their stuff, but it's going to be, we're going to, do our thing. We're going to have fun while we build the performances. That's step one. Step two, we will then apply that to the actual animated what we see so that everybody, like right now, I'm pretty big on the screen. You're gonna see the full screen of the show. It'll be full screen, and what we'll still be able to hear our actors acting live over those parts. So that's part two, execution. um, During parts one and even at the end of part two for Saturday night are those opportunities for interaction. You all will be in the chat. You're gonna be typing stuff up. You're gonna be oh, that's crazy, that's weird, that's strange, that's funny, that's powerful, that's deep, whatever. People are gonna be cracking jokes. Other people, it's gonna be an active, lively chat. We're gonna be it's like a big a kind of a party, a watch
Hmm.
party.
Hmm.
So that will happen during parts one and two. And then part three, the direct interaction of you with the creators. So you get to call up and ask me, okay, Frank, that was crazy. Why did you do that? Or talk about the characters and insights of the story. Or talk to the actors about some aspect of their performance that you found interesting. We open it up for that. We might have people who want to do this, who are studying some aspect of it, either writing or acting or something along those lines, who want to have a conversation about the craft. Fine. You want to talk about the story. Like I said, you want to try to get ahead of me and see what the story is about and get some, ideas about try to get something from me from, whatever it is. So that's what's going to happen Saturday night in three parts. building the performance, executing the performance, and then interaction with the creators.
Wow, this is epic. Just like Novelty said, this is epic. Um, Now, what we've talked about the title. It's life and death. Um, have we spoken about what this story is actually about?
Mm-mm.
We're excited here. We're excited talking about all these different elements of rehearsing and auditioning and doing this live and interaction. What is this story about, Frank?
I love this part. See, I love that because we took this whole and we talked about everything but the
Everything
story.
else, right? Except for the story.
I love it because that's part of when you have a story. um, we want to tell.
Frank, keeping the suspense. He's a real filmmaker, man.
Because when you have a story, part of it is that you want to take us, on the journey of the protagonist. You want our audience to go along this journey, experience it. You want us to resonate. You
Mhm.
want what you see to resonate. So you're going through that, and that's any good audience. That's why we go, to the movies.
Mhm.
People enjoy going and getting, they'll say having a good cry over,
Right.
romantic movie or
It's true.
we go. And so for me, the more I give away early talking about it, I'm just I'm big figures. No, I want to get you through it. So yes, I love when we get to the part where, okay, what's the story about? So what I do is I kind of talk about it the way that I've heard some people who've reviewed the story when I was writing it talk about it. And what they'll say, like they've written log lines that go along the lines of Life or Death is a story about a young man, Caleb, who is torn between following the righteous lifestyle that his mother ingrained in him and the more ruthless and treacherous lifestyle of the streets. So that's one way to tell the story. We're following a protagonist who knows the difference between right or wrong, but he has some reasons why he's looking at this other side over here. And that's very telling. And it's personal in the way that the reason why I wanted to write this particular story is because this is a situation that speaks directly to many of our young people, young black men on the streets, where they're young.
Right.
And especially in this day and age, we got a lot of people struggling to, pay rent, put food on the table, whole families. And so they do things, to quote, Biggie, in one of his songs, they do the fast way, the ski mask way.
Mhm.
They get out here and they do, a number of things that finds them, kind of puts them in these tough situations. Well, our main character, Caleb, is in this situation. And so through that main through lines, that storyline, I am I'm I'm doing a lot of different stories that are being
Mhm.
told and weaving in and out. It's a lot of
Mhm.
different themes from that. So
Mhm.
at its heart, that's why you have a life or death type
Life
title,
or death. Wow.
because in many ways he's flirting and making a decision between life or death in more than one way.
Really, really good. I mean, to be honest with you, I like the suspense. I've always liked suspense for movies. Just recently I've gotten more into uh, watching Netflix since I was sick a little bit. I just switched off from all my work and I just would watch action and suspense for movies. And I've always loved suspense. Let me give a big shout out to Before the Billions. Before the Billions,
The
big
billions in the
YouTuber,
house.
part of our community. Big shout out to you. But what I was gonna say was, I almost don't even really want to know the story until each week comes about. You know what I mean? I'm
Yeah.
happy not to know not to know what the story is or what's going to be happening because I like the suspense, and I think that people kind of do like that as well. Anyway. you know?
Yeah, yeah, especially when you have a story. If I didn't have a story, that's what happens. When you have the goods, you know how to, get it out there when you have the goods. People who, when you go to the movies and you see the movie trailers and they give you every plot point in the movie and you
It's
see it,
like, what, you don't even need to see it then, right? So I
you don't
like the
really
way,
watch anything.
I like the approach that you're taking, for sure, for sure. Um, I'm going to play the little commercial again in a second, but I just wanted to have one more summary of what's happening coming up on starting Saturday. And Saturday is a big day. I mean, let's just face it. The amount of work you've put in from now until Saturday, how many? Let's just say from the audition period,
Mm-hmm.
up until now.
Mm-hmm.
Could you just talk about the capacity, the amount of work that you've done? I mean, we're not talking about literally writing of the play, because I know it's gone through a lot of the edits and the re-edits and all of that kind of good stuff, that's a whole other thing. But
Mm-hmm.
just the more recent stuff from when the auditions kind of started. Talk about the amount of work that's been involved.
I'm glad you asked that. You killing it, Melissa. You killing it. You killing it. So, the amount of work. So you can, if anyone goes to the main Life or Death channel, any of us can go back and watch, and you can see the physical amount of hours that it took to just go through the casting process. And we could add all those up, and right there might be, I'm just guessing because I could be wrong, it could be 100 hours. Let's just say, I'm just going to put it at 100 hours of just going through, just having the physical auditions and callbacks. um, but in addition to that, there's of course all the setup and everything that goes, as you know, as a content creator and a YouTuber, of what it takes to prepare, to go out, all of the prep work, whatever that is. You might add another, I don't know, 20 or 30 hours to that. And then what you have to do afterwards, like these are not just putting the shows out and then the shows up there. Instead, it's having the show and then me going in and I have to evaluate, very scrutinize very closely and compare, this to that, on all the callbacks. So just that physical work to even get to the point of being able to say, okay, this is our casting announcement episode, so what it takes to go in and out, all of that, all the review. And then when you talk about, okay, we have the actors and their cast, but now it's setting everyone else, putting everyone in a position to be successful requires work. So when we talk about what I'll be doing, and I can even show pictures of this, but what I'll be, and this is stuff I'll probably be sharing later when we're done with everything. But I just don't go in willy nilly saying, okay, you need to act more. You need to yell here. You need to be more angry here. You need to be sad here. No, I have to break down. I have to do a director's breakdown of the script to be able to um, accurately and insightfully explain to the actors what their characters' motivations are, what their points of view are, what their particular actions will be, and the whole thing. Oh, so that they can come in and give these performances, understanding, with truth, where these characters are coming from. So there's that. Then there's, when you talk about the editing, I can't put that to the side because I'm editing right now. I'm editing right now for episode 1, and
Right.
so the visual presentation of what we're seeing in terms of it being creative is hugely important. That's why I can't just put a picture up and let it sit there and let somebody act under it, because um, creatively speaking, that's not an aspect of excellence when it comes to telling the story. I want to proceed and throw everything I have at helping you all understand where these characters are, and that requires animation on these still illustrations, and doing it in a really creative way. So So it's an incredible amount of work. But here's the thing, it's so when we talk about creative YouTube creative content, it's so worth it for a number of ways. The immediate way that I think I can say that it's worth it is because I'm creating content that once it's created, all this work that's done, and you throw everything you can and just do the best that you can with it. Once it's created, this is not content that episode one isn't something that people are going to watch and then a year from now um, there will be no reason for them to come back and watch it. A year from now, there's going to be people out there who've never heard of Life or Death, who the word's going to get out and it's going to be right up their alley. They're going to like this kind of story, and they can go and they're going to be able to, it's going to be relevant to them. The same way, and I know this because I've lived it with Love Trap. I wrote Love Trap 17 years ago, and we can all go to the YouTube page right now and see comments from people who watched it for the first time yesterday, and it impacted them,
Wow.
in a powerful way. People writing on my comments on the comments there, it brings them the tears, the things that, the revelations. And so all of that work is worth it when you create content that can last, that people can come to. And this is part of the kind of the beauty of intellectual property. When you create it and you do a good job with it. I made a comment on Chef Sapino's stream that, part of the reason why, Spider-Man and Batman and Superman are such lucrative properties, Marvel Comics, this is intellectual property that was created 70 years ago. But every 10 years here these days, they create another version, some other movie with Batman. And so it's a billionaire piece of intellectual property. I'm sorry, $1 billion worth of intellectual property that they keep eating on every 10 years, because every 10 years a new generation has never heard of these characters.
That's true.
You can watch it. Well, Life or Death, prayerfully, is going to be a property that people will always be coming back to.
Not only the story, but also the concept is what I'm so excited about. Is the concept. No one's ever done this before. Let me give a big shout out to the Intentional Millionaire. Thank you so much for joining us. Again, before the billions is here, I'm going to allow some of the cast members to come on up in a few minutes, but I just want to do one more thing. I'm going to play the intro again, and after that, I want to ask you this question, Frank, Emmy Award-winning Frank Goodin. I love to say that.
I like to hear it.
Of what impact do you intend this endeavor to have, globally, our community, whichever way you want to answer that. But let me just go ahead. This is coming up on Saturday, guys. It's just 2 days away from now. This is going to be the first episode. Here's a quick little preview of what's about to jump off on Saturday. Every time I see that, it's like, wow, I'm so excited. And I love the way how you kind of you're hiding a lot of the graphics. You just give it to people a sneak preview. This is so good, Frank. I mean, oh my God, it's so good. I mean, I'm so excited just to witness this. Even if I wasn't a part of it, I would still be just as excited. Trust me. I really think that you're onto something really big here, guys. The people in the chat room, just drop him some love. Just drop some love for Frank on what this project is all about. But talk about the impact that you hope this to have.
Thanks for that. Another great question. So I'm hoping for the impact it hit us in a few ways, multiple ways. One, I'm hoping that this story inspires people. We've already kind of mentioned that, generally speaking, this story is a contrast. It brings it's a story about someone who's kind of dealing with the reality of street life, right? But it is bringing in this component and element of spirituality and specifically Christianity. And it's doing it in a really powerful way. It's not doing it in a
Mm.
cursory way.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, my hope is initially that this story, when people watch this story, that um, it for people who are, say, non-believers, either haven't been exposed to the message of Christ, or non-believers, it just puts a seed there, for consideration. And it's not necessarily trying to convert anybody, like the story itself isn't trying to convert anybody. It's trying to tell, um, a, present a particular point of view. So I don't want the story. Let's hope that the story doesn't, like, say, quote unquote, turn people off, because you have characters in it that are talking about Christ in a very, very powerful and truthful way, or discussion of biblical concepts in a very powerful and truthful way, because they are present and they are there. But it's in a very creative way that I think works, and I think it serves the story. So that's like number one, right? Introducing the message of Christ, an introduction to it. And for me, the reality and truth of the Bible. And then so that impact in that way, but then in a way that supports this notion is, I want that part to be something that allows for, we have Christian YouTube content creators who, that's what they do. We have several YouTubers that get on YouTube and straight up preach. We have other YouTubers that get on YouTube and talk about biblical concepts, and they're not necessarily preaching, but they're not necessarily trying to beat people over the head and say, you need to get saved and this and that, but they talk about Christian. I want this to be something that gives them kind of a platform to say, hey, let's talk about this life or death thing, and what this means. So I'm hoping for some resonance with that community as well. So that's two. Then I want to reach the youth with them, and this is all to the story, because there's some other stuff going on now. All this is directly story related. I want to reach the youth in particular with the message of hope. And I'll kind of leave it there, because when I start talking about that, I don't want to give anything. I'm pulling back. I ain't trying to give nothing away. I want people to just, come to that on their own. Like when you, participate in the story,
Right.
I like for people to respond from where they are, who they are,
Right.
in an honest way, no matter how they respond.
I
But
love it.
impact-wise, I'm hoping for that. But that's just story-wise. Beyond that, from the craft standpoint, I'm hoping that this effort is powerful enough to begin to present, and we talked about this on Chef Sapino's show the other night, something of a schema shift with the way that we can tell our stories. Because
Mm.
the constant and consistent paradigm when it comes to telling our stories is, let's write a movie and let's see if we can get it. I'm sorry, write a script and let's see if we can get it made into a film. And we want to try to get Denzel in it, and we want to get the top actors, or and let's try to make movies, and let's get into the Hollywood system, and let's try to win Oscars, or let's see if we can get it on a sitcom. So let's try to get on a national network somewhere, or maybe get Netflix or Amazon Prime or Apple or HBO or Showtime, to see if we can get some company to pick us up so we can go big that way. What I'm hoping is that I'm really hoping that people can see that we can tell our stories, in particular in the Black diaspora, in a way that's creative, and in a way that doesn't require us to have this overhead. you know, to be
Mm-hmm.
able to tell an effective story
Mm-hmm.
and tell it from our own perspective and own it. So that when, if this is powerful enough, I want hopefully other people will begin to tell their stories.
Mm-hmm.
It's perfect time for it because the metaverse is coming. If Christ
Mm-hmm.
don't get here first, the metaverse is coming.
I love it. I love it. I love it. Again, Novelty says, I say an expert at suspense. I'm still on the edge of my seat. I tell you. Big shout out to Music by Novelty. Big shout out to Music by Novelty. I'm actually going to go ahead and drop her link and encourage you guys to go check her out afterwards because she is the sponsor of the day. Thank you to Novelty. She's the sponsor of the day who
Uh,
was just sent to a sponsor. I want to say a big shout out to my sponsor of the day. She's the a multi-award winning international recording artist. Just been received the award of last week. Was it last week or the week before? Of South Florida female reggae artist, I believe.
amazing.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Novelty, the South Florida recording artist for the 2 years running, 2 years running. So just go ahead and correct me if I'm wrong there. I might have got some of the details right or wrong. But um, Emmy Award winning Frank Goodin is who we're talking to today, and you've just laid the groundwork for this incredible project. I'm so excited to be a part of it, and I want to give anybody the opportunity at this time. Before I do that, Frank, is there anything else you wanted to say regarding the project that we may have missed before we just get anybody else to come up and be a part of it too?
Melissa, you killing it. No, I'm gonna stop.
We don't want to give anything more away, but I want to give OG Patrice or Vaughn Bryant or any of the cast members to come on up and let us just hear your voices, because at least those two voices, I think they're the only two people that are in here. Even just when you hear just their speaking voice, it's like water, it's like butter, it's like smooth, it's like so many different adjectives I could go with. Let's bring up Vaughn Bryant. Vaughn Bryant, how you doing, my friend?
What's going on? How's
On the
everybody
great.
doing?
Vaughn the Great, says Frank. I love that. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm great, and just to hear your voice, it just reminds me of so many of those interview auditions where you actually stepped up and was really a part of the whole audition phase. Frank, can you talk about that a little
Yeah, the whole process is just amazing to me. When I first thought about doing it, I was really encouraged by OG Patrice
bit?
and listening to her audition. And, I have a background of singing and, I've done some live recordings. And so I know what that pressure is like of doing something live. But man, this was a whole different concept for me, and I worked for many years as a surgical technician. And a lot of the people on my job would always say that, man, you have a radio voice, or you should be doing this or doing that, because I would always oftentimes have to get on the intercom after a surgery to call housekeeping or environmental services to come to the room. And so everybody's like, who's talking? Who's that on the internet? So, but I always took it lightly. I always took it lightly. But this opportunity has really pushed me in a way that I'm ready to be pushed in. And it's amazing, actually. From the audition part. Of first trying out, I can remember that part of it, and sending my audition in and doing all of that to the point of being called back, and the excitement of that, was very encouraging. And man, so like I said, I'm just looking forward to seeing how this whole thing unfolds. Definitely.
Absolutely, it's good to have you. Thank you so much for taking the time to come in up on the panel. Let's go over to OG Patrice. OG Patrice, how you doing, my dear?
I'm well. How you doing?
I'm doing fine. I'm fine. Frank,
Good.
you wanna greet our ladies and our gentlemen here?
OG
Absolutely.
Patrice.
Absolutely. Salute to
Salute.
Emmy Award-winning Frank
Frank
Goodin
Goodin.
and Von Bryan and Millissa Jayne, all my fellow co-stars that I'm going to be working with. I'm so excited. Salute to your chat. They've been on fire, just
Yeah.
asking questions.
Mhm.
It's been just great listening in and getting excited about the project. We only 2 days and counting away, and I'm so excited. I listen. I am. I'm so excited. I just can't hide it. Okay.
Now, OG Patrice, you are also a recording artist. We have quite a few in the room, and Vaughn Bright is a recording artist. Um, I'm definitely gonna have you, OG Patrice, and we're gonna do a big deep dive just like we've done with Frank tonight. But could you just give our audience who are listening just a little snippet of who you are as far as your, you know, your artistry?
Oh, sure. Yeah, well, I've been in the music business for over 20 years. Started out singing as a little girl in church, the Baptist church, and
Mm,
my dad was classically trained. He kind of honed me and trained me technically with singing in the choir, singing gospel music. Grew up from there, singing all in school in the choirs and things of that nature. Sang around my hometown, Chicago, with bands and different things. And my journey led me to Las Vegas,
mm,
so I got to perform in a production show at Bally's in Las Vegas where I portrayed the legendary Etta James, and I did that for
mhm,
2.5 years. And I did some touring, with some major acts as well, things of that nature, background vocals, and things like that. And I got the acting bug several years ago. I auditioned
ah,
for my first musical stage play, and it was
mhm,
a musical stage play in Las Vegas called "Can a Woman Raise a Man?"
mm,
And I co-starred with Marva King. She was in Prince's New Power Generation band, and I co-starred with her. And that led to another play called Strive the Musical. That was a gospel stage play in Las Vegas that I did as well. And I am currently also in another musical stage play with the same playwright. His name is Stanley Jackson. And the name of that play I'm going to be doing in Las Vegas in March is called Main Street Park. And I'm so excited to be working with the Emmy filmmaker Frank Goodin on this project that we are promoting now called Life or Death. I play the role of Ava, who is Caleb's, the main character's mother. So I'm so excited about it. I can't wait. I'm enjoying every moment of this ride of doing interviews and promoting. Listen, this is gonna go viral. I know it is. The first time ever done on YouTube, a graphic novel. Listen, wrap your head around that, people. Like, get ready for the ride. That's all I can say.
I know, right? It's so exciting. It's really exciting, and I'm so thank you so much for taking the time, OG Patrice.
Anytime.
What I would like to do, and I was just looking it up. I would like to just go ahead and play Vaughn's audition
Oh wow.
and OG's position,
Yeah.
audition,
Oh boy.
which are both on the site. Is that
All
okay,
right.
Frank?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Let's do
All
it.
right. So let's for those who may still, if you're still watching, if you're still listening, just drop me a number one in the chat if you're still with us right now as I go ahead and pull this up. I would love to for you guys to hear a little snippet of the auditions, and you can just get a sense of their voices, their rich, beautiful, beautiful voices. All right, let's go ahead and add this to the stream, and I'm gonna go ahead and start with Vaughn.
Okay, my name is Vaughn Bryant, and I am auditioning from Pasadena, California. So you think I'm a fool, huh? You think I'm a fool, Isaiah? What is this? I said, what is this? I found this in your room today, and don't tell me this shit doesn't belong to you. God, son, absolutely, what are you thinking? Drugs? You brought drugs into my home, our house? Who gave you this shit? You know me and your mother didn't raise you like this. And this is how you repay the both of us? We're out here busting our ass, trying to make sure that you have everything you need, son. Where did you get this from? You know what? You're going to take this shit right here and you're going to get it the hell out of my house. As a matter of fact, get your shit too. We can no longer allow you to stay here as much as it breaks my heart. But son, you got to go. You have got to go.
Hey, I
Applause.
get
Applause.
Awesome.
We got one more. We got one more, and then we're going to we're gonna go for
Yes, my name is Patrice Munsell, and I am auditioning from Phoenix, Arizona. Caleb, where in the world are you going besides home this time of night? Son, listen to me, please. Now I know you grown, and I know you think that I can't give you any advice anymore. But I'm gonna give it to you anyway because I'm your mother and I love you. There ain't nothing good out there in those streets. And trouble? Trouble is easy to get into, but hard as hell to get out of. Son, I pray every day and night that you make it home safe to your family. You have a son that is dependent on you. You have a woman that loves and trusts and believes in you. What are you going to show them? Son, I raised you better than this. I raised you better than this. You chasing waterfalls and it ain't no good end to it. Not in them streets. Caleb, I just don't want to see you become a statistic.
Woo!
Wow.
Oh, hold on. Let me get rid of this. Wow.
Awesome.
Guys, I mean, I don't know what to say, man, because you guys are so good. Right, Frank?
Thank you. Now, Millissa, you have to play yours too. Come on.
Oh, mine wasn't even up there.
Gotta play it. We gotta hear
I ran out of time.
I gotta dig it out. I'll dig it out then. I have a file of it somewhere. So while I'm finding it, so obviously, OG Patrice, you've been acting for some time, but Vaughn, is this your first acting role?
Actually, yes, it is. I've never done it. I've never done anything like that before. Yeah. So
How did you decide, or what made you decide? You know what? I really want to try something like this. What made you decide to do that?
Well, the fact that a lot of people were always telling me that, oh, you have a voice for radio. Oh, blah, 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 blah.
Mm-hmm.
And, I said, yeah. I knew I could sing because, I've been singing since I was a young kid, but I don't know. It was just when I heard about this project and when I heard Patrice do her, as you just heard, how awesome she was.
Oh, she killed
And
it.
she set the bar so to the point to where I was like, gosh, I don't even know if I could compete with something like that because, you know, she has experience and, you know, and I said, well, let me try, you
Right.
know? So Frank told us that we could create our own monologue.
Oh, yeah.
He already had monologues that you could do, but he said that we could create our own for our audition. And so I did that. And I just took a scenario, you know, my son is named Isaiah. So I just took that little scenario of what, you know, what if I found some drugs in Isaiah's room and how would I react to that? So I made a monologue off of that. And so here we are, you know, and I just want to say that, you know, listening to the interview with Frank and Chef Shapino, you know, the other night, and hearing his passion for the project and his confidence, you know, for what he's doing. He sounds so confident in it. It makes me feel comfortable to fall in line under his leadership.
Right.
Because he believes in his direction. He believes in where it's going. And he has made me feel so comfortable to fall in line. Now, even though I don't have a lot of experience in this field, but because I know that he knows and that he can give me the direction that I need as long as I follow it, that I should be fine. So I
You
could
will.
rest in that same comfort of knowing, just like he said, "Hey, I'm not, no, I'm not nervous about this. I'm going to do this," you know. And so, yeah, so I'm excited about the whole concept, you know, and I believe that it's just not going to just be something for entertainment, but it's also going to be so impactful to people, and it's going to help someone. Yeah, exactly.
Definitely. Now knowing a little bit more about the story, that's evident. That's clear. Um, that's it sounds as if the story is going to impact people's lives in several different ways. So you know, kudos, Frank. And one, I know you're going to do an absolutely fantastic job. Just the way how you stepped up and you helped other people run their lines. I know you're going to do a fantastic job. And I also think that having a performance background anyway, I think that gives us, I would say, because I put myself in a slightly similar category. When you've had some similar performance experience, that kind of helps a little bit as well. And the same goes with OG Patrice. OG, there's something special. I mean, both of you guys, there's something special, extra special about your voice, OG. You have that. You have every emotion in your voice. You have that pain. You have that. Oh, I don't know. There's something about it. But I think I found the audition that I did. So let me go ahead and share it with you guys right now. Let me go ahead and pull
Get
this
ready
up.
for some power.
Oh
I love it.
man, oh man, oh man, oh man. Let's see. Sorry. Oh, it's on this one. All right, here we go, guys.
Next, we get a fellow YouTuber. I'm so glad to bring you up. Millissa, Jayne live. You reached out on one of my earlier ones, and it sounds like you might be ready, Millissa. So glad to have you here. You've been, as soon as you heard about the idea, this intrigued you kind of from the start. And I'm glad it intrigued you enough to actually want to be a part of it.
I'm adventurous.
Good. That's what we want. That's what we want. Absolutely. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is, I know you've probably been preparing, as I've been telling others, because this may be one of your first times with something like this, right?
Yes, it is.
Okay. All right. So I'm gonna have everybody again,
Sorry, I thought I
keep a
edited.
supportive
I
environment,
thought it was the edited
and
one.
I'm gonna ask you, Millissa, to take your time. I want you to, introduce yourself again and where you are auditioning from, and I'll give you the floor. Take your time.
Hi, my name is Millissa Jayne, auditioning from Florida, from Fort Lauderdale, Florida, and I'm going to read Don't Leave Me Without Muffin. I'm not drunk, Mom. I'm wide awake. I see things very clearly. I see what you did to me growing up and how you left me to fend for myself. You don't remember, do you? All those times I had no choice but to walk into town and search through garbage containers and dumpsters behind McDonald's just so that I could eat. If I never did that, I would have starved to death. Just like Louis. Well, he didn't starve. He died because he was too young to take it. Right? My whole life. I'm done. I'm done thinking that one day it can change. The only real change that I will ever happen is if I make the change myself. And I'm leaving. No more bumping into random men in our kitchen during the middle of the night. No more sleazy smells from all the booze and the drugs you've been taking. No more waiting for a smile, a look, something, anything that tells me that you see me. You never cared about me. You selfish waste of life. You only cared about me if it served you well in some way. Whenever I'm no use to you, I disappear from your mind. And now, I've disappeared for good. You can keep your life. I want no part of it. End of scene.
Oh my gosh.
All right, guys.
That's me hitting
You killed it. You killed it.
So, wow, that's
You
let me get rid of this.
me. You absolutely shocked me as a
Oh,
first
wow.
listen.
I love your accent, man. I fell in love with your accent. That's all I can say.
Oh, thank
Me
you
too.
so much.
I think that what makes it so unique is that someone's in here with such an amazing voice and it's an accent on it, just an additive. It's just awesome.
Mhm. Yeah.
Well, I appreciate you guys. Just to be a part of this, and I listen to you guys. Especially Patrice. There's something special about your voice in particular. I don't know what it is, but there's something. I would love to hear you actually in more dramatic roles. So whatever you've done, we're going to get into it when I interview you anyway. Whatever you've got, and we'll listen to a little bit more of it. But I think we have we've covered most things. Do you want to just say anything further before we wrap this up, Vaughn? Before I go to Patrice.
Wow. Okay. I'm just in awe, and this thing jumps off Saturday.
I
So
know.
I mean, we're right there. We're actually right there. That's just 2 days from now. So
Are you
I'm
are you both in Saturday's episode?
no, I'm not in that episode, but believe me, I'm going to be front and center with both ears open.
Right.
Because I just want to feel the whole entire even if I'm not in a scene, I'm going to be there for every single episode because I want to feel how the whole thing is
Absolutely.
unfolding. So
Absolutely. Like
exactly, yeah. And I'm
Yeah.
just so appreciative for the opportunity, and Frank, thank you again, for believing in me. And hey, I'm going to do my best, sir.
You made it easy for me, brother. Appreciate you.
Well done, Brian. Well done, Vaughn. I really love the way how you stepped in and you helped people run their lines, and you did
Oh, wow.
above and beyond
Yeah.
just your own part. So kudos to that.
Well, you know what? When it came to that, um, if I were to be honest, I'm a little guilty of just trying to hone in,
Mm,
to get the part because, hey, the opportunity presented itself. So,
hmm
I
That's smart. That's really
wanted to make
smart.
sure I was right there.
Hmm
I don't mind being an understudy. If you don't show up, then hey, here I am.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's
And
very
so
smart of what you did.
I found myself in that understudy position,
Hmm
and it just helped me hone in on my character.
Mm, yeah, yeah.
And so that was a
Mhm.
good thing. So I'm
It
just
was a good
I'm
thing.
grateful, guys. I'm
Yeah.
Yeah.
done. I ain't gonna say nothing else. I know.
Alright. We'll look forward to seeing you in the chats and interacting with you on Saturday, 8
Yes.
p.m. for the first episode. And again, I thank you so much for being a part of tonight's show.
Thank
Um,
you.
let me go over to OG Patrice. OG, what do you want to say to the audience, to the chat, to Frank as we get ready for the first magnificent episode coming up on Saturday?
First of all, I definitely want to thank Frank for allowing me to have the opportunity to work with him. I so love his work. When I saw Love Trap, I watched that. I haven't watched the documentary yet, which I definitely want to do that. I just loved his work and said that he definitely was somebody that I wanted to work with. When you're in the entertainment business and you know that you're an independent artist, producer, filmmaker, or whatever, we know that the doors are very minimum for us to walk in the bigger doors, right? So we create our own space as artists
Mm,
to be able to do what we love to do. And hopefully that will continue to blossom as we both grow. So being a part of this project for me is definitely um, pinnacle as far as for my belief in the project and my
mhm,
belief in the ability of what the vision that Frank has for the project. And then for the first time, having a graphic novel on
mm,
YouTube for all
mm,
the world to watch.
mhm,
This is epic. This is something that has never been done. This is something that I truly believe in and believe it's going to go viral.
mm,
And absolutely believe it's going to set the tone for other filmmakers, producers, and writers to think of other ways to be creative, the same way Frank did to bring their film on platforms like YouTube and other things, because YouTube is huge, right? It's huge all over the
mhm,
world. So, you get people just like we came together as a community, you're going to have other people just come in to check it out. Hey, what is this graphic novel? What is this about? Let me check it out, and going to watch it long after the lives is over, right? So just
mhm,
even with that being said and being a part of something, like this that's greater than ourselves. My first time putting my voice behind an animated graphic novel. So it's my first time doing a actual voiceover in that sense for me. So it's a challenge, but I'm up to the challenge. I tell you, I am so excited about this project, and listen, guys, in the chat, please hit the link. Please hit the link to Life or Death. Make sure you hit the notification bell so that you can know when it comes on Saturday
mm,
at your time, wherever you are all over the world. You'll have an opportunity to watch us do our thing live and in living color. So I'm just excited. And Melissa, thank you for inviting me on your platform to talk about it. That's what we're here to do. And I say, let's go, team Life or Death.
let's go, team live with
We
that.
like to death.
Oh wow, beautiful, beautifully said, beautifully said.
Exactly.
I think with that said, Frank, Frank, I'm going to give you the final words. I'm going to give
No,
you
I
the
want to say
final word.
nothing.
It's all been said. It's all been said. But you know what, Frank? We are
Mhm.
so excited. Whichever,
I'll say a couple things, but go ahead. Go ahead.
yeah, we're so excited, and Wealth Engineering says he's gonna where did I see that? He's going to. I got some popcorn tonight, getting ready for the lunch. Get ready, man. Tell all your friends. It is a one of a kind type of project. We're all blessed and fortunate to be a part of it,
Mhm.
and we're going to do whatever we can to get the word out. I'm going to be playing the little clips, at least 30-second clip every week from starting tonight.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to play it one more time. I'm going to give you your final words, Frank, and then we're gonna give this a wrap. Big shout out to Big Bad Bull Wealth Engineering for coming back in. All right, here we go. Wow. That's so exciting.
It's gonna be awesome. It's gonna be awesome.
You know what? It's so funny because I was back there singing that little part.
Yeah, I know. I know. We heard you.
I heard you.
We heard you.
I'm sorry.
They wouldn't have heard you out there anyway. Big shout out to Gail.
I'm so sorry about that.
No, it's all right. You know what? I'm actually looking forward to hearing your voice a lot more, Vaughn, because I heard you. I think I saw a video of you singing on Before the Billions channel, and I'm like, whoa! So listen, man, it's just a matter of time. It's a matter of time when the world's gonna hear, the more of the world's gonna hear you. Anyway,
absolutely.
Frank Goodin, I want to give you the stage for a second.
Yes, you know what? I am so appreciative of each and every person who is gonna take the time just to check it out. We've talked about it. I am, even though I'm not sitting here bouncing around, I'm an INTJ personality type, so we kind of naturally a little weird, and we fall back when we're excited. But I'm over the top really with my level of excitement for the project and what we are going to bring to you. And I want everybody to know that I don't take lightly the interest, saying, hey, you know what? We have someone who is, a content creator, and I've done some things where I've had some success, and I've been able to kind of establish myself in a certain way, but I don't take for granted this people saying, hey, you know what? This brother might be on to something here. It sounds interesting. Let me just check it out. And my hope is that I come through with what this whole concept is all about, because it's really not just about me. It's about what we all are doing together to create something that everybody has a belief in and a faith in. And it's a special thing when you have a whole group of people coming together who believe in the project, who they have not vetted the actual project, what's happening themselves. Because they don't know, they're trusting me. They're putting their trust into this vision that I'm expressing, and so it's not even about the numbers, the sheer numbers of people. It's about who you are and the fact that you are trusting me to step out and work with me, and for our audience, check it out, also participate, and just giving this whole thing a chance. This is what we do. This is another form of validation. You know what I'm saying? In terms of, I, want to have something to contribute to you all, to the world, that has an impact on you in some way, shape, or form. So this is my way of doing that. And to have your validation, it's cool to win Emmy. It is. It's cool to, go through and do it. But for this project, for what we're doing, not doing, this isn't about awards. This isn't even about money. You do want to reap the financial success of work that you've done. We all do, but this ain't about how much money. This is about creating a project that starts, that first of all impacts people, and that has the potential to start a movement that helps everybody. And this part is crucial. This part, Millissa, you giving me this, and all of us this opportunity to spread the word in our own way. This part, each and every one of you saying, hey, let's find out, let's check this out. And if it's something that's we find worthy of our time, spread it. Hit that share button on it and let everybody know, whoa, we on to something here. This is something that, can be groundbreaking, like we hope and pray and plan that it is. So I just have to just take my time to say I appreciate you, each and every one of you, for what you're doing to kind of help the project and contribute. So that'll be what I gotta say.
Thank you so much, Frank. Emmy Award-winning filmmaker Frank Goodin. He's coming with something unique, guys. You don't want to miss it. Starts on Saturday, 8 o'clock Eastern, right here on YouTube. The link is right there in the chat. You can find him on Frank Goodin, Emmy-winning filmmaker. Also on Frank Life or Death, which is obviously the graphic novels channel itself. That's where we're going to be on Saturday, 8 p.m. All the cast members are going to be there in the chat room. Those who are performing that night will be there, and everybody can have an opportunity to participate one way or another, whether it's just by giving your thoughts and your comments in the chat, or by voting on whatever needs to be voted on, or whatever. We're going to take directions from Frank, because it's going to reveal itself each and every week.
Yeah.
All right. So I want to thank you, Vaughn. I want to thank you, OG Patrice. I'll be in touch with both of you at some point to do full interviews on you guys, spotlight on you guys, one-on-one type of thing.
Good. Sounds good.
And yeah, absolutely. All right, I'm gonna drop you guys down, and I'm gonna just address the audience. Show. All right, thanks again, Frank. Again, I really appreciate it.
Thanks everyone. Salute to
Thank you.
All right, I'm gonna drop you guys down. Thanks again, Frank. You are awesome. I really am looking forward to it. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, bye for now. All right. All right, everybody. I really thank you for tuning in tonight. I'm gonna go out the way how I usually come in with my music. I'm gonna play the music that I usually play, and I'm gonna make sure I go through and say thank you to everybody that is in my chat room. All right, and I'm also going to thank all of my sponsors as well. So let me go ahead and get that ready for you. And it's been an awesome show, and I thank you so much. It's been terrific. Frank was awesome, wasn't he? He was really good. Let me go ahead and add my music to the screen. And let's go ahead and play the music that we normally do before we go tonight. All right, this is my funky music. Let me know if you can hear it. Yes, I know you can hear it. Jessica Watson, thanks for coming. Thank you, Jessica. Thanks again to Emmy-winning filmmaker Frank Goodin for sharing his vision with us tonight. It all starts on Saturday night at 8 p.m. Just subscribe to Life or Death. That's because you can sing, and you always want to sing, and we always want to hear you sing. So it's all right, boy. Girl at Night. We appreciate you each and every time. Thank you so much. Jessica, I will be in touch with you at the weekend. I gotta get in touch with you for something. Ba-da-da. This was such an enjoyable and interesting chat. Totally enjoyed it. I'm glad you did, Novelty. I'm glad you did. OG Patrice, thanks again for coming up tonight on the panel. Appreciate you. Looking forward to having you on my show one night. very, very soon. Big Bad Bull! How you doing, my friend? Friendsgiving! How are you? Thanks to all my sponsors. Lashes Journey, Shayla, Gail Luckett, Carl Sinclair, The Intentional Millionaire, Double T, Sophia Sharif, Bernard S. Thank you all so much for being my sponsors. The sponsor of the night is Novelty, the multi-award-winning international recording artist, and Novelty to be exact. Big shout out to Wealth Engineering. Zan the Man was here. Zan the Man. Big shout out to The Intentional Millionaire Before the Billions. Our Facebook user. Make sure you come over to YouTube. She Stole My Thunder, First Gen Corporate, Junior Martin, Gary Dixon. I appreciate each and every one of you. Amber Miller, Marva Riley, Registered Nurse. Thank you to Angela Sadler. Let's jump that back a little bit. Cynthia Brown. Thank you to Cynthia Gardner, Patrice's sister, Getty Radio Show. I know you could be anywhere, or Ralph Ferguson. Who else do we have here? Da, 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 da. First Gen. Gary Dixon, OG Patrice. Novelty, of course. Needs Watches was here. And Chef Chopino. I think that's everybody, guys. Once again, I thank you so much for tuning in tonight. The Tonight Show was epic. This project that Frank is doing is so epic. Look at Millissa Jayne, straight vibing. You better believe it. Alright, guys. Life or Death on YouTube starts on Saturday, 8 p.m. Eastern. We'll all be tuned in. Thanks again to Frank Goodin for being such an amazing co-host, because you helped me produce the show tonight, co-host, and my special guest for tonight. All right, we're looking forward to an amazing project starting on Saturday. It's going to be epic. You're going to make history in our community. All right, guys, have a wonderful night. I hope you have a beautiful, restful evening. The weekend starts right here. See you on Saturday night for the Emmy-winning Frank Goodin's project. All right, see you soon. Have a wonderful evening. Bye for now.